Hello, friends, and welcome. September 10th, 2024, Virtual Strangers is on the air again. I, of course, am your host, Wes. With me, as always, are my good friends, Ruuts and Eric. Eric, what are you doing here, bro?
I'm back.
Eric, back in California?
I am back in California. Yeah, for a few more days. Actually, I finally get to go home. I haven't been home.
Oh my God!
Many months since before I went to China. I have not been home to Florida to see my wife and daughter. And actually, I'm Wednesday night, like midnight. I'm going to fly home, and I'm gonna spend 4 days there in Tampa, Florida. So it's gonna be fun.
That's
it's gonna
awesome.
be cool. But now I'm home. I'm back home at Virtual Strangers home. It feels good to be back here.
Let me ask you this, Eric. Did your wife like show your daughter a picture of you? It's like, here's her daddy looks
remember
like.
This guy?
Yeah, remember this guy? Just so you don't get kind of scared. Oh my God! Oh, that's dad. Never mind. It's been a while,
yeah,
right?
she sees me now, and she's like, I have a shaved face, and I don't look anything like I did when I left. So she's like, who the hell is this dude?
I heard Roots. I heard that beards were outlawed in California.
Yeah, a lot of things are outlawed in California, but to common
Roots,
sense.
you should come and visit, and we'll shave you when you.
That
come
would
up.
be cool, right? It could be like
That would be cool.
we call it a Sasquatch shaving party. We go crazy with a beard trimming.
Do you know how many views we would get if you let us shave your beard on here?
Only way I would do it would be like if it was like a charity and it was like raising. This is like after $100,000 for the charity was raised. Be like, you know what? It's worth it. We'll kind of snip a tiny bit.
Well, I have the perfect charity for that, Roots. It's called the Help Us Get a 5090 fundraiser stream.
Perfect.
Every $500, we take a chunk of it off until we have enough money for us all to get a graphics card.
That'd be cool.
That's 350.90s. I think your beard is worth 350.90s.
I think it is too. What if they only like went partial and like you could like leave a chunk here and then the rest? I could go half.
Well, you just shaved half of it.
I think that
half
would
your
be
face.
cool. I could start a trend.
Yeah.
Or you could do one of
I'm
those
thinking
like
about going mustache.
Two-face.
What do you think? Like going just going like porn star, like 80s mustache.
I think that is the worst trend of the last decade, and I can't believe that so many people.
Man, I'm telling you.
So many people have that weird fucking pervert looking mustache now, and I don't understand it. I just don't get it. I think I'm getting old or something.
Well, it's like I always tell customers. I have to like calm myself down because I'm like on the edge of running outside and yelling at some kids to get off my lawn. So,
Oh my God.
Close.
5 Binaka Sprays in the chat says, unpopular opinion, we need more fun exercise games in VR.
Would you consider this motion an exercise game? Like you're playing a...
You know who does consider that motion an exercise game?
Oh yeah.
You know who loves a good trombone?
Let me ask you this though. Like, I guess what would constitute a good exercise game? I thought
know.
Supernatural was pretty good. You know, I mean, it actually was not. It was different. My biggest thing is the traditional, because I know some have tried it. Traditional exercise. I don't want to do that in VR. Like, I don't want to do push-ups and like anything that's awkward to do in a headset. I don't want to do it. Maybe when we get to sunglass levels. Yeah, jumping jacks.
Jumping jacks were the worst.
Yeah, there's just I feel like that's why I thought Supernatural was good, because you were doing things that you do in other games, and it didn't almost feel like it was exercise until I couldn't log in, and then I got pissed and I was like, "Fuck you!"
You're like, screw that.
Yeah, dude. It was like,
does your wife still do Supernatural? She used to do it like every day. Right?
No, she don't. She did for a while, probably for 6 months. She did it. But we got busy there for a little while around the time my dad went into the hospital, and she wasn't doing it as often. So like after 3 or 4 months of her not really doing it, we just went ahead and froze the subscription on it because we weren't using it anymore.
At least it's $10 now. not 20.
Yeah, it was effective. It worked. I can vouch for it. It absolutely works. And she loved it when she was doing it. We're just so busy now that we don't have time to be healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the American way. So there you go.
I did VR workout for a while. Like when we were working with VR workout, and I did like a public workout like every Friday. Everybody came in and work out with me, and I tell you what, man, I felt it every Friday, but I felt like I was definitely getting in shape with it. So I think VR is a viable place for working out, and I think when we get the smaller headsets and like to where you can jump around or run or do something in them like without them feeling like you got a big brick on your face that's it's about to fall off. Can you imagine doing a VR workout in a big Pimax headset?
Yeah, it would be horrible. And here's the thing too. It's not only the bulkiness, it's the heat, right? Like no, it doesn't feel good to sweat in a headset. Like I don't like the feeling of moisture on my face inside an electronics. You know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
so I don't know how
Yeah,
you overcome that, but
I mean, honestly, it's a question of getting good, cheap, disposable facial interfaces. I feel like something that you can pay $5 or $10 each for, that you can use for a week and then pull it off and toss away. Because right now, like there are some active games that I like playing right now, like Vendetta Forever, for example, is a game that I played recently and got into, but I didn't like the fact that I was in my Quest 3 headset and taking it off and having to wick the sweat out of it
right.
every time that I played. If I had a box of facial interfaces that I could just snap on, use for a while, and toss, that would be better. And yeah, I get it. There are like rubber covers and stuff that you can buy,
That doesn't feel good
and all of this.
either.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Looper says, you know who doesn't mind having moisture on their face?
Lots of moisture.
Extra lotion. I'm just kidding. Oh man.
But no, it's a fair point, and I think there's probably more out there than you know of. There are quite a few people in that space trying to be the pioneers, so to speak, in what they envision as something that's going to be very profitable in the future. VR fitness. I think that we are at the point where we could see major growth in that sector, just because I feel like the pass through, right, the mixed reality, I think really lends itself well to fitness apps, because nobody likes moving around with a blindfold on, right, and having that feeling that any minute you can break something or break someone who's in your vicinity. But now we have the ability with the high quality color pass through to see our surroundings and know when we're getting ready to run face first into something. So I think you're right, Eric. I think the one big limiting factor now is just the general size and form factor of the equipment. And as we start to see that improve, we'll start to see the fitness sector really take off.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm gonna go. Now, this isn't like a VR per se headset, but next week, me and Jasmine are headed to Austin for the Visor press release, and we'll be trying that Visor headset on for the first time. And I think that's probably the closest that we're going to get so far to something that's close to that form factor. Now, I don't know anything like what this headset's going to be and how it's going to work, but just form factor and what that looks like for size, I think we're getting closer to that. So who knows, man? Like 2 years, 3 years, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see what this headset's all about.
Yeah, yeah. I'm interested in what kind of like the next wave is going to be like. Visor's still kind of, one of the last headsets of this, generation that's about to drop. But I feel like there's a number of new headsets that the world just isn't aware of right now, that we're going to see over the next couple of years. And really interested and excited to see what micro OLED is going to mean for VR hardware and VR industry in general. Philosic says Thrill of the Fight made me sweat. Yeah, they were supposed to be working on a sequel to that. I wonder what happened. I haven't heard anything about that in a while.
Yeah, you would think that would be easy, fairly easy to do too. Like, but I
Right.
mean, but I guess like, how do you do a Thrill of the Fight 2 and make it different than the first, right? I
Right.
think that's the biggest issue. Like, just making another one would probably be fairly easy. It wasn't like a graphically intense game, and I think they did a good job with it. But shit, what do you do now to make it different? Like,
Mixed
figure
reality.
something out.
Mixed reality.
Yeah, but I mean, couldn't you just do a mixed reality mode on the original Thrill of the Fight and then not charge
No,
anybody more money, or just charge the DLC for
It's-
it?
It's a $10 game. Do another $10 game. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
That's-
yeah, and
yeah, I guess that would be good with mixed reality. I don't know. I'd still have to see the implementation to see if it's actually worth it or not. You know, and most games that are mixed reality don't need to be mixed reality. There's a few that actually benefit from it, and it really could, but will it? That's the difference. And I
think that would be one that would, right? Because then you would, like, I hold back in those type of games all the time, even though I know I have a big play space, because I'm worried I'm gonna hit something. So if you could see your own environment, it would be cool. I would just be worried that, like, if that was the only thing, if you're gonna give me Thrill of the Fight 2 and it's gonna be all this time,
right,
all it does is just give me the same thing, but in mixed reality. That's not enough for me.
It's not. No, that's I don't like when games do that. Like, mixed reality is not a viable new game or mode. If that's the only thing it's adding to it, then I'd say just don't do it. You know,
I'm sure that there's room for improvement on the original. I'm not super familiar with it, so I can't really sit here and go into great detail about how you would do a next gen boxing game. But I'd be shocked if there wasn't opportunity to improve it in multiple ways.
Inferno 9 says they already did mixed reality for Thrill.
Well, there you
That's
go.
Great.
Beautiful.
It was
anyways.
it was so good that nobody knows about it.
yeah, like most mixed reality experiences, I still think it's a tech demo stage. You know, there's a lot of games trying to do mixed reality. It's still tech demo stage. You know, we'll a year or two from now we'll admit it. Right now we're gonna pretend it's not really. That's not where we're at. You know, as a whole, the VR bubble, because we want more. But that's what it is, you know. And we'll have a couple of big games.
Of course, there's a lot of that. I mean, it's a new technology, and that's the first stage for any new technology. But there are exceptions to that. There are very good mixed reality games in the library, and there's one of them on our list here today as we're about to dive into yet another episode of everybody's favorite game of the month. And yeah,
We're not going
one
to do
of
it.
these.
We're not going to do the game.
And nobody ever does it. So
I was ready to do it with you this time.
All right, we're gonna have another episode of everybody's favorite game
Game
of the month.
month.
Yeah, need a little practice. We
need a lot. We need a lot of work. A lot of work on that. We should just record something.
But we just need to get Elliot to use his like AI magic to make this soundbite for me. I'm sure it could be done easily.
True.
Oh my God, Elliot. Yeah.
Anyway, as predicted, a much more busy month this month for VR on all platforms. I had to cut games out this month instead of just nominating everything that came out like we have had to do throughout the summer. We can start to see the tides turning a little bit with regard to the frequency and quality of our releases. And I don't know if you've noticed, Eric, but September looking even better, and October is just going to be insane.
Yeah, I would say, you go through your summer shit months, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, nobody wants to launch in June, July, and August, and but then September, October, November are normally good months, and we may see could see the best 3 months or 4 months of VR that we've had, maybe ever. But I mean, definitely, I would say in the last few years, like literally, there are experiences coming like that. There's experience coming that people know about already, like Batman and Metro, and some of those other games. But there's stuff coming that we don't even know about yet, or most people don't know about yet. So yeah, I mean, things between now and the end of the year, it's going to be insane. Like these discussions will become serious discussions. Like when we all start like debating each other and really getting hot and heavy of like what we really want to choose, because that's when it gets hard. Like most of the time, like we can get through these. We all have a pretty good idea, but man, how are you going to choose between Metro and Batman and Behemoth?
Well, honestly, though, I mean, it's already mid-September. We'll be doing probably 2 more of these, and then we'll be on our end of the year break. With the 2024 show coming up, we cut out mid-November, and I imagine we'll be doing the same thing again this year, because that show takes so much time and effort to prepare for. We won't be having that discussion for at the very least November. But you're right; it's going to be hot and heavy, I feel like, and yeah, I think it's going to be the best window of releases that we've seen, at least since the launch of PSVR 2 in early 2023. We had a couple of months there that was just crazy with good releases, and I think that this is going to be another period like that. So I'm really looking forward to it, and it'll be nice to have some really good stuff to play that was actually intended for VR rather than just taking flat games and playing them in VR.
What's the matter with
Anyway,
playing flat games in VR?
well, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it at all. That's why we do it every weekend. But it seems like a chore almost every month to do Game of the Month when the releases are like they have been for the last few months, right? We have to stop playing these awesome games like we do every other weekend and try to just cram in a bunch of mediocre stuff so that we can do these episodes, because people love these episodes, right?
Where it is nice is for the people that don't have PCs, right? Because they've kind of, as we've been enjoying these games, they've been just kind of not having amazing games, so they're going to get to go on the rides, the ride with the good games as well, with Batman and Behemoth, etc. Right? Alien,
Yeah.
maybe.
And to be fair, I mean, we do typically, we'll play 15 games for one of these episodes. We'll find 2 or 3 that are better than we expected, right, and have some good fun in them, and that certainly was the case this month, like it has been each month. But yeah, we had to wade through a lot of garbage, especially the last couple of months. So I'm glad to see the industry kind of coming back as it does every year.
Yeah.
Anyway, a lot to talk about tonight, and we do not want to be up until daylight. So we should probably get on with it and say hello to our friends in chat. Friends like Old Darth and Hussein X. Mickey Barrios is here. Rogue TR, DJ, Dirty Yella said, but how likely is it that PSVR 2 gets a media app that's better than Rad? Anybody know what the hell he's talking about?
I don't know what Rad is.
Oh, Rad! I did see this. Rad is like it's a PlayStation thing, right? Isn't Rad a PlayStation media app? We're able to play certain. Yeah.
We never get any apps in VR. Yeah, we barely got YouTube. A couple years ago, so crazy.
Inferno 9 is here. JPEG Q 506 is here. Jay the Foveated Render Game Cat. Kramer 3K, the non-VR Game Cat. Grandpa Barbecuer is here. Good to see you, friends. He said, hey, Eric's back. Hello.
Hey, what's up? Rad is a TV streaming app for PlayStation 5 and PlayStation VR 2 that offers a standard 2D version and a VR version that supports stereoscopic 3D content.
Oh, really? I had no idea. That's cool.
Yeah, I haven't done it yet, but I remember I saw a Twitter post of somebody doing it who said it wasn't as good as they hoped it would be.
Formerly known as Little Star, is what Looper says.
Oh, Little Star. Okay, yes, I do. I am aware of this. It's the return of Little Star, which was the PSVR 1 app that people paid a subscription so that they could sideload movies, VR movies onto their PlayStation. and watch them because you can't go onto the VR browser on PlayStation VR 1 and watch movies.
I don't understand why you can't just put a fucking DVD and watch it in 3D. Like, why? Like, how hard is it? Like that? I just feel like that's such a missed opportunity.
Yeah, 3D Blu-ray would be good. It was one of the things that PSVR 1 did that PSVR 2 doesn't do. And nobody can really point to a good reason why.
It's crazy.
But the Return of Little Star is here, and there are a number of PSVR exclusive gamers out there that are going to get some benefit from that. So I'm happy for them. Looper is here. GameCat Behemoth here as well. Thanks for the heads up, GameCat Behemoth. I appreciate it. Who else is here? Island Care is here. Wolfheart JG is here. Mind Jive is here. Techno Glitch is here. Patty Cat is here as well. Cop Dog is here. Bambimo Ramos says awesome intro. Thank you. It is awesome. Roland is here. True Prophecy 22. Evan Yabu. Hussein X here as well. Old Darth. Cole Saturday. What up? Excuse me. Radio Runt's here. And Gabriel 004. That Dank Cheese. Curious Toy. You know who else has a curious toy?
My mom!
Oh, yes.
Lots of curious toys.
Alex is in the chat. Alex says the utility room should be on here. The utility room is on here. I just didn't put it on the thumbnail because that is the only game that we're covering on today's episode that does not have a press kit. It does not have a logo with a transparent background. And I said to myself, all right, I'll just start putting together this thumbnail. And if there's a gap for it, I'll just type the utility room into the gap because the logo it's just a plain font, right? It's not anything like special. But when I got all these other games on there, there wasn't room. So I said, you know what? Screw it. The utility room is just not going to be on the thumbnail.
Hey, well,
but
let it be a lesson to all developers out
Seriously.
there. When you put out a press kit, put out the fucking kit for one, because a lot don't.
Yeah.
And then, add that kind of stuff, because people want to make thumbnails with you, and we want to make it without having to go find some low res, because that's what you end up doing. It's like, well, I'm not going to use this. This is low res. Everything else is, at least high def, right? So
If you care so little about your game at this point, if you care so little about your game and that you can't even put logos and a press kit out or anything to offer to people to cover it, why the fuck would we cover it? There's too many games. So there's too much shit going on. There's too many good games out there and too many people reaching out that like care about their stuff. I mean, like if you just want to puke your game out there and not care about it, that's fine. But nobody's gonna cover it.
Yeah. So I put 10 minutes into trying to get the utility room on the thumbnail. And then when I couldn't find a logo file, I just went on and moved on. And speaking to your point, Roots, the burst, couldn't find a press kit for the burst. So in order to get that on this thumbnail, I went and I pulled a copy of the black and white logo. It's a black logo. I pulled it from Google Images. I cut out the letters for the burst and removed the background and manually went in and turned all the black stuff to white and put it on a transparent background just so that I can add that to the 20 minutes to add the burst on. And I'm thinking to myself, why am I doing this? They didn't send us a review key for, first of all, I paid for the game and paid to cover it, gave them 3 hours of good coverage last month. And then here we are again, or last week, and then now here we are again a week later, and I'm putting in all this extra time, putting in the effort to try to cover their game when we're the only ones in the whole fucking VR media that did not shit on their game. and they won't help us out at all. It's crazy.
It is crazy because that would have been your space for utility room right there. You could have put the letters in there.
But these will be the first. These will be the first developers who want to cry that nobody wants to support the platform. Like these are the same ones. Like they just don't. Again, they're just going to shit their game out and go, okay, put it out there. Like again, if you have no foresight to even think about doing something for your game, like, and I'm shocked at the burst. Like this other one, this utility room, I don't know it. So I mean, it could be a solo dev who's got no bandwidth to do anything. But the burst is a fairly big game. Like that's been covered a lot. Like, how do you not have stuff out there? It just boggles my mind at this point. There's so many games, and with App Lab going away and just the whole entire system being open market now, like if you're not putting the effort into letting people know your games are there, or at least making it easy for people to cover your games, you deserve to fail.
The non-grappling game is what Evan
said. We'll get to that. That's a bit of a mind boggle to me. But we'll get there when we get to it. Escape Portal also in the chat says a month completely filled with games that I recommend. Nothing amazing, but a lot of really good stuff. Have a great show, my friends. I'll catch the replay tomorrow. Yeah, I got to agree. Again, nothing here that's likely to be
game of the year
in the final rounds of the discussion for game of the year, but certainly a lot of stuff that I had fun playing this month. Right. Not a lot of trash like there has been in recent months.
Some games are better than the others though on this list for sure. I would say that there's definitely a few on here that I really had a good time playing, and then several that were just, like you said, not the best, but they're not the worst either. They were good. So
Slippies today. We've got Simplex slipping in, Robbie Y slipping in. Who else? Boognish 66 is a Slippy today. Who else? JPEG Q. Did we say hi to JPEG Q?
What's up, JPEG? I don't remember you saying hi. I did see somebody was saying that this was their very first time of making it to a game of the month discussion. They were excited to be here.
Wow.
I'm trying to see who that was.
Oh, really? That's cool. Wow. We've done so many of these.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Bambino Ramos. First time he's been able to make it for the game of the month. So, what's up, awesome. Bambino?
Welcome, Bambino Ramos. Welcome to the big show. And on that note, why don't we get into it and start off as we typically do with good old PlayStation VR 2. It was good to have a reason.
Hey Wes, can I answer one question first?
Sure.
Can I answer one question from chat first? I saw it here for a while, and I figured. Yeah. I think it's been asked a couple of times. Old Darth had just asked, has the 5th game from Flat to VR Studios been announced? And
dude, let me just say
the 5th game.
Let me say. Let me say before you answer this question that, man, we're such a big deal now in the VR community that we have to be real careful about what we say, because just that one little mention from you that there was going to be a 5th game announced set off this whole thing on the Without Parole Discord, where people were watching for the 5th title to be announced, and people were like excited for it, and I had to go in and I was like, guys, calm down.
Well, no, did you see they said that Eric was wearing a hat, so that meant no, just kidding. You know how those things
wearing my hat backwards.
Yeah, exactly. And so it must be that it's any day now. So
but yeah, no, it was announced when he said it was going to be announced. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, and you're right. Like you have to be super careful now. Yeah, I mean, because anything we can say either can be taken out of context, or like you'll like kind of hang on everything. But I did want to answer it, like because Upload was kind enough to cover it a couple of times, and the game that the 5th game is not a flat to VR conversion of a game. It was never a flat game at all. This has always been a built from the ground up game. It's a game that's made directly for Quest 3, and it's called Skyrunner. It was a game that was launched into App Lab in March. That was called Bomber Drone, that we found and we fell in love with it. Like we fell in love with it. We thought we wanted to support this developer, and we wanted to co-develop it with him and make it into something special because we thought it was super cool. So we're publishing it and we're co-developing Skyrunner that you can actually get right now on the Quest store. It's been upgraded. It will have new stuff come out for it this fall, and then it will come out of early access in the spring with multiplayer and a whole bunch of different modes. So Skyrunner is the 5th game, but Wes, it's not the 5th game you got to be concerned about. It's the 6th game that we're going to announce soon that you got to be concerned about.
Oh,
Yeah, man. So much happening, and it's such an exciting time. But yeah, Skyrunner is pretty cool. You know, we saw a lot of positive reviews for this this mixed reality tech demo called Bomber Drone back in the spring, and it was a cool concept. And the developer really needed some not only resources but direction and things that that he could do with the game. And then, you know, we had a lot of good ideas for it, right? And some of the stuff a bit more complicated, we'll say, to implement. So we kind of started helping him with that. And then one thing leads to another. And we've got a whole new title lined up now with all sorts of new modes. There's already new content in there. Like they added in a couple of, I think, was it the firefighter mode they added in, and level editor, the demo. I think level editor demo is in there now. But there's tons of new gameplay modes and multiplayer coming by the spring, and it's going to be a whole new game compared to what it was just 6 months ago. So
wow. Inferno 9 says he has it.
Nice.
Boom. So.
Yeah.
Awesome.
This was one of those things, Ruuts, that I was like, this is a tech demo. Like when we saw it, it was single dev, it was tech demo, but it was a freaking super cool tech demo. And I could just tell that he wanted to make it something more, but he was a single dev and just didn't have the ability. I'm like, but we could make this into not a tech demo. Like we could make this into a full blown adventure game and like do a whole bunch of cool shit in mixed reality. And I'm like, you know, we're really the good, you know, like the perfect people to do this. So, you know, and that's, you know, Flat to VR Studios is, you know, we don't have to like do every game as a flat game into VR. Like we're a good development studio all around. It doesn't really matter. We just happen to specialize in flat games, but
right.
You know,
You're just looking for good games.
Like, is cool.
Yeah. What's cool is about this story is and in particular with these devs or this dev is you're helping him create his dream, right? Like it's like, I don't know, you're seeing that diamond in the rough and you're going in and saying, you know what, let's join together and let you make your game, right? Super cool.
Yeah, no,
And
this is one of the most fulfilling things about this is like we took a developer who was doing this part-time. He had a regular full-time job, not revolved around the game, and like, you know, he wanted to do something more, and you know, we've been able to put a team behind him, and you know, subsequently he's been able to like quit that job and start building this game with us full time. And that's one of the most fulfilling things, like allowing people to help them. I'm living my dream every day, and allowing other people to live their dream is super rewarding for me and something that I absolutely love. So I mean, it's like such a win-win for me when we get to do something like this.
Yeah, and you hear all the time from these indie devs about the kind of horror stories about taking on and going into business with a publisher. But what you don't hear about nearly as often, you probably should hear about more, is that there are good publishers and there are bad publishers, right? There are predatory publishers out there, but that's not everyone, right? This guy now gets to follow his dream and build his game out and see it fulfill its potential. Not only that, but he gets to learn from working with our team and picking up all of this knowledge that he didn't have before. So next time he does a game, maybe he doesn't have to go into business with a publisher if he doesn't want to. But I bet you dollars to donuts that when that time comes, he's going to be pitching to us, wanting us to come in and help him again. Just because, like I said, a good publisher can really benefit these independent developers in a lot of really cool ways.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome to see.
Anyway, Skyrunner, it's available now only for Quest 3 and coming soon for unannounced, leaked meta headset that we'll know more about within a couple of weeks.
So skipping
Maybe.
past the 6th game, what about the 7th one? No, just kidding. Nah.
I tell you what, the 6th game, Wes, 6th game.
Yeah?
I'm so excited. This 6th game is like one that like I mean I love every game that we've gotten so far, but like and I don't want to like unduly build hype, but when I'm telling you, like I'm a gamer, and when I'm telling you that this game is probably one of the most I'm excited about.
Can I ask you a question, a coded question that no one will know what I'm talking about except for you?
Okay, yes, definitely.
Is this the game that we talked about during last week's meeting? The one that you all told us about?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So all right, that's awesome. That's cool. That's good to know that that's going to be the next one. And Eric's not exaggerating. It's cool. It's cool. The cool factor here is definitely definitely off the charts. It'll be something that it fits VR very well. I'll say that about it. It's a game that fits VR perfectly. So yeah, that'll be exciting to get into when the time comes.
I can't believe Eric got Beat Saber too. Oh, we're not talking about the same game, right?
It's what the car.
I know.
It's what the car.
You said you're excited.
What
I
the
just
car.
assumed. Yeah, what the car?
I actually demoed. I didn't demo, but I went to the booth for What the Car at PAX West, and it flat. I mean, it looks way better than What the Bat. Like I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I thought so too. It looked funny, right?
Yeah.
You're running around as a car with your legs. That's kind of funny. It's a funny idea. Anyway, let's enough talking about games coming in years to come. Let's talk about games that came out this month for PlayStation VR 2. The first of which you see on your screen there. Darksword Battle Eternity came to PlayStation VR 2 this month. And this was a game that came out to a lot of fanfare on MetaQuest early this year, or maybe it was even late last year. And it faded away quickly due to everyone's kind of hype for Dungeons of Eternity. So it really kind of has gone under the radar since then. And I feel like is a very underrated title for people who like these arena style arcade hack and slash type games in VR. There's good progression system in this game. There's a hell of a lot of challenge. Like this is a fucking hard game, which I love. And you know, as is usually the case, Eric, better on PlayStation VR 2 in most ways, except one. There is no co-op available on the PlayStation version for whatever reason.
That's so weird. Why not?
That is
I don't get
weird.
it.
Yeah, I don't know either. Like this was something I didn't even know until it launched. When we were looking at the store page on Without Parole, we were just kind of reading over it, and we noticed that there was no mention of multiplayer on there. And it could be different now. Maybe they updated it, and I'm just not aware. But as far as I know, there's no co-op available in here now, which is kind of weird. But with that said, it's not really a game breaker. You have to put significant time into this game to even unlock co-op multiplayer. Like when we covered this for Quest, Eric, like we intended to cover the co-op, but we didn't. We weren't able to because we ran out of time. Like we played the game,
and we couldn't beat the first boss. You have to beat the first boss just to get the multiplayer.
Yeah, and it's one of those games that has like roguelike progression, and so like you slowly get stronger, run to run to run to run. But we never got strong enough to get through that first boss. So you know, if you're somebody who's only going to be picking this up and playing it for a couple of hours, you're not even going to miss that multiplayer because you're not going to unlock it anyway. Ruuts, did you check out Darksword Battle Alternative?
No, not on the PlayStation. But my question is the Quest, do you think, is it possible that Meta paid for the servers for, and Sony wasn't going to pay for the servers? I mean, that's the only thing that I can think of that would be the difference. Would be, you know, they just weren't going to pay for it. Somebody whoever paid for the servers the first time aren't going to pay for it this time as far as the
You know what it
platform.
might be? It might be that they've looked at their bottom line on the Quest version, and they've realized that no one's playing this game in
Right.
co-op, and they're worried
True.
that no one would do that on Sony. But I can tell you for a fact that this game would probably have a lot more co-op players on Quest if it weren't for Dungeons of Eternity, which came out right around the same time. Very similar gameplay arc and offers 4-player co-op. But you don't have that problem. Not on PlayStation, not right now. So I think that they certainly could have wooed a few more players. Would it have been enough to justify implementing the mode and keeping the servers up? I can't really say. But I do think that they would have had a much higher percentage of players taking advantage of the co-op on PlayStation had they implemented it. Anyway, a solid title to kick the month off, to say the least. Like, this is super high quality in terms of the overall polish. It looks good graphically. It sounds good. The weapon physics are good, and there's a nice wide variety of weapons and abilities for you to unlock and upgrade here. Almost like a role playing game, Eric. The way that they approach progression, right?
I love this game, man. It's got a lot of the things I love about like gameplay loop in a game. I love wave shooters. I love roguelites. I love like progression in games where you get to upgrade yourself and upgrade your weapons and things. So I mean, it has a lot here. This is like my favorite game that nobody knows about or nobody plays. Like, and even for myself, Wes, like I always forget about this game, and then all of a sudden, like I remember I was doing this game on thing for Meta at Walmart, and where Meta was like doing a whole bunch of Walmart things in Walmart parking lots where they had these big pop up live events, and one of the games that Meta was demoing was this game. I was shocked. But it was this game, and I jumped into the demo just because I was there and I had some time. I'm like, oh crap, I forgot about this game, and it's something with the title and with the game, as it never clicks to me that that's what it is. Like, even when it was on the cover page today, I'm like, oh yeah, I had to go remember that game. So I don't know what it is with this game, but like either nobody knows about it or nobody plays it, and it's a really good game. So it's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Like, it's one of these things. We see this a lot with games from Asian developers, and I don't know what it is about them, because a lot of them are like this, that they're super high quality and polished and have really good effects in them. But something about the way the game's marketed, or I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't land with Western audiences. People don't, take an interest to them, or even if they do, that it doesn't keep people's attention. And a lot of good games from Asian developers go unnoticed in the West, and it's an enigma that we have yet to crack. And I feel like maybe this is a prime example of that happening once again. Anyway, solid title to kick off the month for PlayStation VR 2. If you're a fan of this arcade style hack and slash action, it isn't all hack and slash either, by the way. There's ranged combat, there's magic, there's lots of stuff in this game for you to use to battle your way up through the layers. Big, intimidating bosses, enemies that are intimidating and sometimes spooky. It's just a really solid title that even without co-op, I have no problem recommending. And it's going to be a hard one to beat this month on PlayStation VR. But with that said, while we're on the topic of awesome ports coming to PlayStation VR 2, Arcade Paradise VR also came to PlayStation VR 2. Maybe not as much of a difference with this title. We still have very similar graphics here to what we saw on Quest. But this game isn't about, being a graphical masterpiece. This game is about putting you in that time machine and sending you back 25 years to to rebuild the type of arcade that we all kind of grew up, and kind of sparked our love for gaming that has sustained us even to this day. And it does a very effective job of that, no matter which platform you play for. This was a great game on Quest, Eric, and I'm happy to say that it's a great game on PlayStation VR 2 as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just glad it's going to another platform, which is great. It doesn't. I guess it doesn't always have to be different. Would have been nice if they did something for it, but I'm just happy it's there, and it's a great game. I love this game. It's. I played a ton of this game on the Quest, and who thought you could have so much fun washing clothes?
Yeah, that's kind of the surprise for me, Roots, with this is, before you even get to building the arcade stuff in it, you have to earn money to do that. And the way you do it is by running a laundromat, washing clothes, drying clothes, picking up trash, cleaning toilets, peeling gum off of things. All stuff that sounds terrible, right? Like, I don't want to go into VR to work. I've said it a million times. Um, but it's actually kind of fun managing this laundromat, and that's something that I didn't really expect going into this game. I thought I would hate that aspect of it, but it's kind of addictive, isn't it?
It is, and what I always my biggest takeaway is everybody forgets. Everybody talks about the laundry. Nobody talks about cleaning the shitter. I see that in the trailer too, man. Like I that's part of the job as well. I did my biggest thing is I just want to prove that bastard wrong. My dad's snarky fucking little letter that he left me. I'm gonna prove him wrong. I'm gonna do the arcade. It's gonna be better than any of his laundry businesses that he grew, and it's gonna be more fun. And somebody was saying last week that they're just addicted to this game, right? That they have all these arcade games. It's super cool that it holds progress. That you have all the different games, and there's just a lot to this game. And so yeah, I think it's something that if you try to play a game like this flat, it would be okay. It would probably not translate at all. But this is that's just completely different. It's super cool. And
Well, the cool
I don't
thing is,
know. I
just
had more fun in this game than Darksword Battle Eternity personally, but that's
Ooh,
just me.
wow.
yeah, this is a very popular game, and it is actually coming from a flat game that was quite popular. But it translates to VR so much better because of the ability to play these arcade cabinets and do the laundry and do everything with your own hands. This is
Right.
one of those prime examples of how VR can make any game better. Which is the case most of the time. You get a good game on flat, you put it in VR, and it's a great game.
Mm.
Um, and what you're saying was true. You have like 40 different arcade cabinets here. They all have their own individual progress that gets saved, and not only that, but they all actually have their own global leaderboards that you're playing into as well, which is a really awesome feature. On top of it, hours and hours of gameplay, unlocking all of this stuff, and a game that really benefits from the association with Wired, as you get that awesome like art and music that they benefit from here. The music kind of sets the tone for this game as soon as you put it in. The opening track really recreates that nostalgia and puts you in the vibe of that time frame, and it takes off. It's a story driven game. Then you go from there, and yeah, and like most popular flat games that come into VR, this one's a little bit longer and has a little bit more gameplay to offer than your typical built from the ground up VR game. And it's just an excellent, high quality title that really, like Root said, seems like it was meant for VR from the very beginning.
Jay
I
the
wouldn't
folk.
play
Yeah.
this game flat, by the way.
I,
I would not play
I
it flat.
I probably would have before, but I wouldn't now after playing it this way.
Yeah.
Jade, the foveated rendered game cat, says I'm 26 hours in and the story is still not complete.
Damn.
Yeah, it takes a while, man. It does take a while. Now, of course, you can make it take longer. If you really run the laundromat section of the game, to its fullest potential, and take your time building up the arcade. It can really take a while. And even after you start building up the arcade, if you just spend all your time playing the arcade games and instead of progressing the story, like this game can take forever to get through. But yeah, I mean, it's a couple dozen hours easy, just playing through it at a relaxed pace. And that's what, Roots? Is that like 3 VR games, 4 VR games worth of content?
Yeah, I know I was a little bitter earlier. I just want to make my dad proud. Like, he put me in charge of this laundry, and I just want to do a good job and make it like this amazing laundry with a, I was thinking about putting a casino back here. How cool would that be?
Oh, yeah.
That's
I
like
when
the
you were
sequel.
more spunky, Roots. I like when you were spunky, Roots, and you were pissed off at it.
Yeah, now I just feel a little reminiscent.
This new Roots is just not feeling it, man. I'm not feeling it.
I just want to know why the person that cleaned the toilet in this trailer, there was just a little bit speck of crap they left right in the middle.
I want to know who's going to this bathroom, and is there a taco place next door or something?
Yeah.
A burrito place?
Yeah, I don't want to.
This toilet's always just like splattered.
I don't want to clean this toilet anymore. Laundry's fine. I think hire somebody else to clean the bathroom. But no, this game is good. I think it's unique, and I agree with Eric. It almost feels like it would be a waste to play it flat, right? Especially after playing it in VR.
Yeah, I agree, but I say that about all the games. Like, if I can't play it in VR, I'm not interested. Well, my question is, why hasn't Mr. Tass made the toilet brush attachment for the motion controllers yet?
It's coming.
He's
Tass,
slacking.
we need it. Yeah, he's slacking. Rest in peace, James Earl Jones and Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, Tom Cruise died?
I threw the Tom Cruise in there.
I was like, what a day.
A little wishful.
James and Tom?
Just a little wishful thinking. No, actually, I don't wish harm on Tom. Just Scientology in general.
Yeah, James Earl Jones passed away today. Rest in peace.
Yes.
That's 2 weeks in a row that we've had a legend pass away. Last week it was Sid Vicious, and this week it's James Earl Jones. Yeah, I couldn't help but make a joke to myself, though, when I saw the news. I saw that Darth Vader had died, and I said, no, that's impossible.
They always die in threes. I predict Madonna next.
Madonna's never going to die, man. She's a vampire witch. She's going to live forever. Like Cher.
She's her time's coming. Your time's up, Madonna.
Have you seen her? She's already dead and been mummified.
Oh, God.
Oh, man, that's nasty.
That is nasty.
I get kind of sick to my stomach just thinking about the current form that Madonna has taken, but that's another story for another day.
I just think they should outlaw plastic surgery. It's just getting weird, man.
It is kind of weird. Our European friends starting to show up in the chat. Black Market Honey is here. Says good morning from wet and windy Sweden. And Gamertag VR dropping by to say good morning as well. Hello, GT. Welcome. Anyway, Arcade Paradise, an excellent game. Got very high marks from Without Parole, and pretty much gets very high marks from everyone that has played it. So definitely a game worth checking out. Even if you don't think that this game is for you, if you have the opportunity to try it out, I think that you should. Because like I said, I didn't expect I was going to like this game at all, and it turned out that I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. So it's a high quality VR title.
What
Move
did
fast.
What did the Without Parole boys think about Darksword?
I don't know if they really covered it while I was around. I'm not sure. I don't think Brian has reviewed it yet, and I haven't really heard much of them talk about it. Now, maybe they covered it on one of my weeks off, but I don't know. I really can't answer that. I'm sure that maybe some of the game cats in the chat could answer that question, but I have no idea. I haven't talked to them about it.
I'd be curious to know.
Yeah, me too. But we move along. Move fast in the chat says PSVR 2 needs a Dreams. It would cover a lot of these types of these games. Yeah, Dreams. It's a shame that they quit supporting Dreams when they did, because I think on a next generation VR system like PSVR 2, it really could have fulfilled the potential that we all know that it has, right? Like the Dreams engine, they spent a decade putting that thing together, and it was such a capable thing, and so much great content came out of it. Just to drop it as we move into a next gen console really just was senseless and a waste of so much potential and resources. It was unbelievable.
It was a pipe dream. I'm just kidding. I don't know, man. It just sucks. But yeah, maybe they're waiting for the next iteration. Maybe this is my thing. I don't even know if this generation is really like the next one is going to be really there, right? Maybe even PS6, and if there is even a PS6 at this rate. So.
Well, I mean that's always the case, right? Every generation seems like makes a big leap in some kind of new feature. And yeah, I mean, especially in like standalone. PS6, we're a ways off from PS6, but PS5 Pro is coming later this year, and going to be interested to see what kind of difference, if any, that's going to make for VR. I'll believe it when I see it, but we'll know soon enough. Gamecat's in the chat. Nobody really has heard anything about Without Parole and Darksword, so they must not have covered it.
Yeah, or they didn't like it that much. Or I guess that they would know at least if they covered it, but.
And we talked about it a little bit leading up to launch, but I don't remember talking to them about it post-launch. Anyways, we move along to yet another port to PlayStation VR 2. This one of a classic PCVR game. Compound finally made its way over to a PlayStation platform for the first time. Compound, a game that's been around forever. Like, this game was around in demo form when I first started playing PCVR. This was kind of a legendary demo that everyone had played and was blown away by. By the time I'd been a PC gamer for a year or two, this game launched on the Steam, came to Quest, I want to say last year, and now here we are with it coming to PlayStation VR 2. Ruuts, as is always the case, or almost always the case, a great game becomes even better on PlayStation VR 2, because not only do we have this working at fully native frame rates in the HDR OLED, but we've got all of the benefits from the advanced haptics in the headset, in the controllers, the adaptive triggers, all of the PSVR bells and whistles being used here to make what was already a great roguelike retro shooter even better. Did you check this out on PlayStation?
I didn't play it on PlayStation, but I played it on the other platform we had it, and fuck, man, if it's better, if this is better than that version, because like I think, what did we have it on, the Quest version, or was it the PC version we had?
We've got it on every platform.
I'm sure that I played it on PC then, and
yeah.
I was blown away again. I remember playing this, like you said, back in the day, but I didn't play that far into it. I played the shit out of it this time, and this game's amazing. And if you're telling me it's even better with the adaptive triggers and everything, then yeah, this is a legit game. It's cool.
Eric, I know you didn't get a chance to play this on PlayStation because you're not home and you don't have your PlayStation. But let me tell you, haptics and triggers aside, which are amazing, this thing burns your fucking retinas out with that screen.
So bright?
Yeah, dude, it's super bright and not an easy game. I was kind of surprised that Brian Paul kind of blew through this and was talking about how simple it was when he first went into it. I got my ass kicked when I went into this game for the first time, and it took me a while to get good at it. But it's got that that super fast retro pace that really is a hallmark of those old boomer shooters, and probably is the most true to life, true to form modern boomer shooter that I've played in VR.
Yeah, it's pretty. I love this game. This is such a good game, and I get what you. I know why it's so like it's because this is a colorful game, like and to see it in the PlayStation headset. I'm
Yeah.
not like this is one of the ones I'm looking for. There's a good handful of games on the PlayStation VR2 that I'm really looking forward to checking out when I finally do get back home. And actually that'll probably be this week. So, and this is one of them. Like I love this game. I played it a ton on PC. I played it a ton on Quest, which is great platforms to play it on if that's all you have. But it sounds like to me, like with again with the visuals, with the haptics, that sounds like this is the best place to play it.
Yeah, it's definitely the best place to play it. This is the best version of the game. Now, of course, you know we are nitpicking. We're talking about a few features. I think we should be clear that this game is great on every platform, Quest included. There's less of a difference between the versions of this game than we typically see in multi-platform games, because normally when we talk about multi-platform games, there's a big graphical difference. There isn't really any graphical difference other than the screens are just so bright and colorful here. But the difference is in how it feels to play it, with the haptics, with the triggers, the headset haptics. And again, it's got high smooth frame rates on console. It's just a better experience all around. I feel like. So yeah, it was already a great game, and it's still a great game. I don't know if I've ever heard anybody say that they just don't love this game. It's really good.
Roar Mick Rip Helmet says he doesn't love it on the PlayStation VR2 because it's not available in Norway for some reason. But thankfully he has it on Steam. So I guess you can play it on Steam in Norway, just not PlayStation VR2.
So my answer to that would be I hope that you have the PC adapter that would allow you to take advantage of the OLED panel through the Steam version. And Old Darth says, isn't there a mod to add adaptive triggers on PC? And it's interesting that you say that, Old Darth, because I had originally had that listed as the intro topic for this episode, but I didn't get a chance to go in and play around in it as much as I had hoped to, so I removed it from the docket last minute. But yes, this is something that is coming from the developer of Cactus Cowboy. Actually is working in tandem with the developer behind the what's it called, DSX. It's the DualShock 4 emulator that you can buy on Steam to use your DualShock 4 with all of its features natively on Steam games. It's like a $7 app, $8 app. Those two guys are working together, and they have successfully unlocked the adaptive trigger capability in the DualSense controllers. It works. They're finishing it up right now. Like right now, for it to work, you have to have a copy of the DSX to make it work. But by the time they release it publicly, that won't be the case. The DSX guy is actually allowing his code and technology to be used in the back end, in the game. So the people are going to be able to actually program this right into their games, so that as long as the devs support it, the adaptive triggers are going to be able to work, even though Sony doesn't officially support it. So you're right. That is coming, and it's awesome.
Sony doesn't support it, so other devs are having to go out of their way. And I think you guys actually said this. Actually, I think it was Eric that said this months ago, that said that, that there's going to be devs that are going to support PlayStation VR2. And I'm sure you said it as well, Wes, that, it just wasn't going to be Sony that was going to do it. So
yeah, these guys are going to figure this stuff out quick. Like, I mean, this thing hasn't even been out, a month at this point, and people are already figuring out how to do this shit. They're going to unlock all of it probably by the end of the year. So yeah, I have no concerns there, but it's cool. We'll probably do a longer segment on this, either on Saturday or next Monday, because we do have everything that we need to demo it, and tell you about it. But I wasn't prepared for it. It slipped my mind. Honestly, I forgot that I had this stuff to do, and until it was too late. So yeah, tune in on Saturday, on Monday. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you ring the bell, and we're gonna give you all of the juicy bits on this adaptive trigger support for PS on Steam. Eric, are you going to try the PC adapter out while you're at home, or you don't want to spend all your time playing VR while you're in Florida?
His wife is probably going to be the one that answers that question for you.
Yeah, I mean, literally, I haven't seen my wife in months, and my daughter, and but I do plan on it. Like I think me and you were talking about the other day. I'm like, I just haven't picked the adapter up yet because I knew I wasn't going to be home and I wasn't going to have my PlayStation with me. I'm like, there's no sense in me getting it right now, but I want to do it. Like, I mean, I know I've talked to you, I've talked to Miles, I've talked to everybody or not Miles because he doesn't have a PC, but I think Gamertag I talked to, and maybe Mike VR Oasis, and they just loved it. So I'm like, I'm really looking forward to doing it. I want to get into it. I just don't know if I'll be able to do it this trip, but definitely next trip.
Are you going to get a link cable? Because that was my first thought. It's like, Eric, I'm sure there's a Best Buy down the street from you. And you were like, man, it got lost in Germany. I was like, go buy another one. You need
Link cable will be here tomorrow. I already ordered it from Amazon.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Because we need to get back in. I guess we'll talk about these games when we get to the PC section. But we really missed your link cable this week.
I did too, because I liked the game, like the game itself that you guys played, which was gory something.
Yeah, Cuddly Carnage. Yeah.
Yeah, Cuddly Carnage. I love the game, and what happened was I got in there and just laptop. I'm not wired to my router. It's I'm just using Wi-Fi. My 3090 or 3080 laptop. Trying to use Steam Link, and then I tried Steam Link and. Then I tried the link cable, and just running the UEVR mod, it was just laggy. It was just laggy enough where it was not playable. With a Twitch game like that, which you have to be like super accurate on your jumps and your attacks, I'm like, I just can't do it. But I loved it, and I actually stopped and got out and just played some flat for probably about, I don't know, probably like 45 minutes just flat, just to check it out, because I thought it was a really cool concept, and I think it would be a perfect game to bring to VR officially.
Oh, I thought you were going to say to have your daughter Charlie play. No, just kidding.
Oh, that's a good one too.
You're like, maybe not. It's a little gory, right?
It's a little gory. Yeah.
A lot of curse words in it too.
And a lot of curse words.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I love those games.
But no, I thought it was such a great game, and what a fortuitous circumstance to just stumble upon that just in time for the episode, and it really works very, very well in VR, and so glad that had a lot of fun on Saturday. Doing both the games we covered was a lot of fun. Our show Ruuts very quickly becoming the UEVR show, as 3 out of 4 weeks that's what we're covering on our channel.
Yeah, well, it's about to change, like you said. There's actual games coming out now, and so that's a different scenario.
But as we before we move on from the PSVR adapter talk, Eric, I haven't touched my G2 in over a month. Like, it's just sitting over there now. Wow. I don't even use it. I don't even use it anymore. I just use my PlayStation VR for everything now.
That's pretty awesome to hear. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it sucks for your G2, but I mean, it's pretty awesome to hear for the PlayStation.
The support is just so much better for it. Like, the controller support has been 100%. I haven't found the game that doesn't work on it yet. Like, I think maybe there was one, and I don't even remember what it was. I think there was one game I tried to play on it that I couldn't play. But every other game has worked, and it's even today with the improved support that G2 has, like, it's a crapshoot with it. And oftentimes I have to download community controller bindings to make games work on it.
Or
hasn't been the case. Or it crashes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and it hasn't been the case at all with the PSVR headset. G2, I typically regularly turn it down to 70 and 80% resolution to get it to run smoothly. I've kept the PlayStation at 100%, and the controllers have just worked on everything. Revive, even everything I've tried in Revive has worked. It's just been seamless. It just has worked way better than I ever thought it would at first. I thought it would take over a year for it to get to the point that it's at right now out of the box. So yeah, I've been very happy with it, and it's literally all I've been using.
I guess I'll do.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to hear. You should
put it towards your 50/90 fund.
What's that now?
Sell your G2.
Mm-hmm.
Who's gonna pay me what it's worth?
Could you get $200? You probably get $200.
I could probably get $200 for it, but I don't know that it's worth $200. I'd rather keep it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I've got 4 PCs in this house. You know what I mean? Maybe one day we're gonna want to do a multiplayer or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, we move along to the final final nominee for PSVR 2 this month. As previously requested, the Utility Room came to PlayStation VR 2 this month, and what, to be quite honest, was a fairly big surprise for me, because this is a relatively unknown, unheralded Steam VR title that essentially is an interactive artistic experience. Not so much a game here. There's some platforming in it. There's some climbing and stuff like that. I guess you can fall and die kind of, but it just pretty much just sets you back up where you fell from and you continue on. I don't know that I would call this a game at all, Ruuts, but it is certainly an interesting experience, and it's super weird and surreal, and has very high production value. Like the graphical quality here, and the soundtrack and music is just really good. It's a very enjoyable, weird experience. But I don't know if we could call it game of the month with it not actually being a game.
Yeah, experience of the month. Although, well, I don't know. Eric said Kayak VR wasn't a game. It was an experience, right? But we threw that in there. But this is absolutely.
That's true.
It looks like a experience. I didn't go into this one either. I haven't touched with the PlayStation for a long time. Yeah, should have. Didn't have access to this on the PC? Did we?
Yes, it's in your library.
Oh wow. Well, then should have gone into.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Eric, you ever play the Utility Room?
No, I haven't. I haven't played this at all. Like, I have no idea. Like, I didn't even know about it or heard about it.
This is one
it's
we
in
picked
Ruuts'
up.
library.
Yeah, this is one that we picked up some time ago, and we were talking about maybe covering it, and I think that's why Ruuts picked it up, because we were going to cover this on an episode, and then something came out at the last minute or something that we decided to cover instead, so we didn't actually end up covering it. But I'm pretty sure you played this, Ruuts. I think I remember you telling me that you picked it up and you played like an hour of it or something.
No, maybe. It's been a while then. But yeah, it looks pretty cool.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it
is cool. It is a super cool, weird experience. The premise here is like you're at the edge of the universe, and this is the kind of where the sausage is made for our reality. The things that are going on in this realm are the things that produce the reality that we all experience. And you're there as a tourist, as a visitor, and they tell you not to touch anything, don't break anything, and the first thing you do is touch something and break it. And then the journey that you go on is pretty crazy and intense at times, but not a game.
I'm starting to have guilty flashbacks. Like maybe I broke something there and I wasn't supposed to. And yeah, I don't know. But yeah, no, it looks cool. And you said it got pretty good reviews.
The people that play it seem to like it. I don't think a lot of people are playing it, but the people that are playing it seem to like it. It's, people like me that like this weird shit in VR, right? Um, enjoy it because there isn't a whole lot of these are like super surreal, dreamlike uh, state that you can play through in VR these days. So when we get one that has good production value, like this one does, I mean, it's a walking sim essentially, and yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good, and for people who have similar taste, I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah. PD says, you know who else likes to touch it and break it? She
What's up,
better
PD?
not break it. Sensitive. Don't break it.
Anyway, that's it. That's our month for PSVR 2. 4 ports, but 4 solid quality titles coming into the platform. Certainly more than we could say for it last month. So I think this is definitely movement in the right direction, and
True.
obviously I think September will be even better than August was. But the question is, what was the game of the month? I don't think it's going to be Utility Room. I think that's a pretty easy one to disqualify. Even though it's cool, it's not really a game. But the other 3 are all very solid games. And for me, and you guys might think differently, especially you, Eric. You might want to put Darksword into the conversation here a little bit. But for me, it's a question if do I go with what I had the most fun playing, what's my favorite game on the list, or do I go with the title that I think maybe more casuals will enjoy? You know what I mean? Because I
Right.
feel like there's a lot more wider appeal to Arcade Paradise. I think that might win the popularity contest here. But if I got to pick the one that I enjoy the most and I think is the best game, it's probably going to be Compound.
Right.
I guess we'll start. Go ahead, Roots.
I was just gonna say it's definitely where my decision falls in the middle of those 4 the same way. It's between the 2, and for exactly the same reasons. I think Compound is an amazing, fun game that I really enjoy, and I think is probably the better overall, like polished appeal game to like the masses, I guess. But like, then again, I guess it's not because Arcade Paradise is really popular. So I don't know. I'd say it's between those 2 as well.
What are you thinking, Eric?
I mean, I've played a lot of these 3 games. I played a ton of Arcade Paradise. I mean, I live streamed it several times. I played a ton of Darksword when it first came out. Yeah, and I played a lot of Compound on both PC and Quest. Now, I haven't played any of these on PlayStation, so it's, I have to go by like how you say or the versions are. So I feel a little bit weird having to vote for this, but I'm gonna say just overall of what 3 of these games I probably enjoy the most and would be more apt to go back to than anything else, I'm gonna vote for Darksword probably.
Wow.
And I love Compound. Like I love Compound, and I think it's really really great. Darksword, again, every time I jump into it, I'm reminded of how good it is. Like, and it shocks me every time, and I just don't know where the disconnect is. But this is just one of those games where, like, every time I get in, I'm like, why don't I play this game all the time? And there's not many games that I get in to do that. Like, and I even love Compound, but like, I when I get back into Compound, I have fun. But I'm like, oh, how come I'm not playing this all the time? I'm like, okay, that was good. Now I want to get out of it. Darksword I could play all the time. Like, and I think it's even way deeper than I even know about because I haven't gotten that far in it that I wanted to. So, I'm gonna vote for Darksword.
I'd already put the poll out without Darksword, and then you
Oh,
said
shit.
Darksword.
Right,
had to
right,
take it down.
right.
I completely fucked you on
right
that
before
one.
you said that. That was funny. I don't know. I there's something to be said about a game if it's not if it's forgettable. There's a reason. How good is a game if it's forgettable? If everybody forgets about it. I don't know. It's
I literally think they have done zero to promote that game. And again, they made it super hard to get into the co-op. I wish they would have made that easier. So they got a couple of mistakes, but like to me, it's not the game that's the mistake. It's like it's just it's either the naming of it, like, and I think Wes would hit it on the nail on the head. Like timing wise, I think Grimlord had just come out, Darksword came out, Grimlord, Darksword, and then you had Dungeons of Eternity that came right on the end of it too. So it was like, I mean, it was just in a bad spot and a bad time. Like, but the game itself is freaking great, and if you like those types of games, and I do, like, so you know, and so if you don't like like a wave based game, if you don't like, you know, melee combat, although there is some range, but it's mainly melee, then you're not going to like this. But those are games that I like, and I think it's got a good gameplay hook, and I think the visuals are amazing, and it's something I'm looking forward to playing on the PlayStation.
Yeah, so we got a poll open right now. Isn't being really much help. Kind of following right where Roots and I are at. Compound and Arcade Paradise, neck and neck with exactly the same amount of votes. So everyone, be sure to get your votes in. We're definitely looking for some guidance here because, again, like if I'm going to vote for the one that I enjoy playing most, it's Compound, hands down. Definitely enjoy playing that more. But I think that Arcade Paradise would probably be the one that, like, if I had to recommend to general public, that's probably going to be the one that most people enjoy the most. And I certainly expect that it probably sold a lot better than Compound did. But that's just my assumption. I don't know that to be a fact.
Right, everybody gets hung up on the laundry and the chores and stuff, or the things you have to do. But like, think about it from the average gamer's perspective that, you know, loves retro games, or maybe even they just got into VR and they get, like, they love that type of stuff, right? And then they get in there and then they get to play all these cool flat games that are like nostalgia all over. I mean, it's a really actually a very, very good idea, and works perfect for VR. So.
Yeah, it's great. Even like like the Quest version, which is where most of my time is in. It's in the Quest version. Like they developed like 6 or 8 new cabinets for the VR version that weren't in the flat version, and then they added on like the mixed reality mode that lets you put the cabinets right in your fucking house. If you want to just go play the arcade game in your living room, you can do that. Just a super cool title in general.
Distracted says he was a little underwhelmed by Arcade Paradise. Just fair, you know, it's not for everybody. So
Yep, not for everybody, but definitely
question your
apparently
soul.
for the majority of people, as it's starting to pull away quite a bit in the poll. So I'm going to move, fellas, as we give them a few more seconds here to get the votes in. I'm going to say we just let the people decide this one because I'm literally torn on it. I don't know which way to vote on it. And I just know that it ain't Darksword, Eric.
Sorry.
That much is obvious. But Roots, I don't know how you feel about that, but I think we just let
that's fine.
let the
I think
poll have it.
They're both solid titles, you know, and like we said, nothing on this list is going to be game of the year. So probably,
Yeah, right about that.
Yeah, and if I had to choose, if I was just going to choose between those two, I'd probably choose Arcade Paradise 2, just for the all-around game that it is.
If we were going to talk about which one of them belongs the most in a conversation with games like Resident Evil 4 and, you know, these big AAA titles that come out on PlayStation VR 2, it would be Arcade Paradise, right? Like Compound would totally not belong in that conversation. I could see Arcade Paradise making a case. Probably wouldn't win, but certainly of the two titles is the one that belongs in that conversation the most. And again, that's the whole point of Game of the Month, is to nominate games for Game of the Year. So I think by that logic and the fact that it's pulled away 3-1 in the poll now, I think we have our winner. Arcade Paradise VR, PlayStation VR, Game of the Month.
I thought it was Utility Room. We had the trailer on here. Let me switch. I'm just kidding.
Well, Utility Room got its shine. We gave it its moment in the sun. or in the darkness, I guess would be a better way to put it. But Arcade Paradise, clear winner, no runner-up needed. And we move along to PCVR, where this is interesting, man, because we're honestly we're opening up PCVR with a title that I didn't play on PCVR. I played this title on Quest because I put in a key request for this game because we saw the trailer for it. We thought it was a cool concept and something we definitely wanted to check out. I put in a request and said, "Hey, we're PC gamers first here, so if you wouldn't mind sending us a Steam key, we'd really appreciate it. If you want to also send us a Quest copy, we'll check it out for comparison's sake." And they just sent the Quest copy and said, "Well, if you really insist and want to have the Steam copy, then send us an email a little bit later. But right now, we're just focusing on Quest." And what that told to me was the Quest version is probably going to be the more polished version. So we just played that, and we never went back to ask for the Steam version. With that said, this is a narrative-driven single-player puzzle game, kind of a puzzle adventure, with a dark narrative to it. It's a bit spooky. It puts you in you play the role of a YouTuber, a streamer, one of these people who goes and investigates and explores abandoned buildings and haunted things and things like that. You go to check out this restaurant that had closed down. As you make your way back into the back sections of the building, you fall through the floor and you find yourself in this crazy, huge warehouse full of chemicals, and you can tell that something nefarious has been going on here on a massive, massive scale. This is a big warehouse that you find yourself in. And then the story starts from there. You're basically you befriend an AI that is kind of integrated into the computer / security system of the facility, and you're basically make your way through the game trying to escape, but at the same time unraveling a mystery. Before we get to kind of our final verdict on the game, Ruuts, I'll just kind of start off talking a little bit about the premise of the game. I think this is a good idea, a very original premise in terms of the story and in terms of kind of the kind of game we have here. It's very original, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely unique. You get to go in there with your YouTube chat, and man, they're like, some of them are creepy, dude. Like some of the things some of them are trying to help you, and some of them are saying some weird stuff. But this, you know,
there's a lot of weirdness. Yeah,
there's a lot of weirdness, but I guess that's true for real life too. You know what's crazy is this fucking game. Right off the bat, when it chopped my hand off, spoiler alert, happens within the first like 3 minutes. I couldn't. I don't know, man. Like it was crazy, and it just kept getting crazier. So it was definitely unique.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what the best thing this game has going for it is that it is so unique. The story's good. It's compelling. The environments and sounds all look really good, you know, considering that, again, this was a standalone title, even though we are talking about it here in the PC section. We played the standalone version of it. Pretty good looking game. The voice acting, not terrible in it. I mean, it's pretty good. I think where it kind of falls flat. And Eric, did you play this at all?
I did not. Didn't get into this chance to get into this at all. So it's the first time I'm actually seeing it. So it looks cool though. I mean, it looks really cool.
Yeah. So I had fun with this, right? Like I played this for probably 2 or 3 hours. I played this. I didn't play all the way through it, but I played a significant amount in it, and I got relatively deep into the story. The story I'm digging, the environments, all of this stuff I'm digging. I have really one major flaw with it. through what I've played, and maybe this changes later in the game, and I hope it does. But if it does, then we're probably not going to give it the credit it deserves here, because Roots, my biggest problem with this game is that it's the same puzzle over and over and over again. It gets more complex, but this is basically these are flow puzzles, right? You have an energy source. You have to take these movable items to move the flow of the electricity into a receptacle on the other end of a corridor or a room to open the door up and reveal the next area. You move into the next area, and you have the same type of scenario, only now you've got to go around a corner. Then you move into the next one, and now you have to split the beam of electricity into two beams and hit two goals with it. It's a pretty standard flow puzzler, and I really would have liked if they had a little bit more variety to the types of puzzles that they throw at you here. Because as much as I was digging the story and the environments and everything, by the time I got done playing, I was getting kind of bored with these puzzles.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it as not a puzzle game, as more a walking sim that had these puzzles put in there to give you something to do to bridge everything together. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Because no, I can't imagine anybody's gonna make a game that's a puzzle game that's only the same puzzle over and over again, outside of just trying to give you something to do. And I would equate it with this is how I feel every time I've got to pull out a fucking torch to cut around bolts in Lone Echo and all of this type of shit, dude. All of it. Whether it's puzzles or the same remedial burning around metal and removing it, it's all the same. It's all boring. And it's all something that's bringing me through the game, and it's not very well thought out. You know, it would be great to have different puzzles, or maybe even just have an option to where they're not there at all. You know,
Yeah, because it's not that they weren't challenging, because they certainly do get challenging. It's just that they're not fun. Like, it's not very rewarding to solve them. Like it feels like there's such a small window of being able to get the beam to the next pole. Like, we're talking a matter of inches here. Like, if you set the thing 2 inches to the right, it's not going to work. It has to be exactly on the right spot for it to work. And there's a little bit of jank in the interaction, so that makes it kind of difficult. So, like, even though you can see in your mind the path and what you need to do, it's not always super easy to just walk up and do it, because you've got to sit and pick it up and place it again, and pick it up and place it again, and pick it up and place it again. That, you know, and again, after doing fucking half a dozen of these things, you're just done at this point. Like, I want to keep going for the story. I love the environments, like these big open spaces and exploring this facility. But the puzzles were just frustrating, not because I couldn't figure them out, or not because they weren't challenging, but they're just tedious. And it got to the point where, like, the last hour that I was playing, that I was taking advantage of the jank to cheese the solutions. So, like, there are parts in this game where, so part of the challenge is, so you have to find these poles that the electricity will shoot into over a span of like 10 or 15 feet. And then you have to find another pole so that you can move it 15 more feet. So part of the game is just exploring the space to find the poles that you need to make it all the way across the room. And it got to the point where during the last hour, like, I would notice that there are areas that I can't reach yet that are behind closed doors. And what they want you to do is they want you to route the electricity to this door and get it open so that you can go in that room and pull another pole out, and then move all the poles that you've already placed into the original puzzle. And again, just very tedious thing. And it got to the point where I noticed that I could clip through some of the walls and teleport. Like if you put your controller in just the right spot, you could teleport into rooms that you're not supposed to be in yet. So I was skipping whole puzzles just by, clipping into the wall and taking advantage of this exploit to get in there and grab the pole out of the room without actually routing the electricity and opening the door. I did that probably 3 times, where I just cut out probably 20 to 30 minutes of gameplay just because I didn't want to do it, and I could.
How dare you?
know?
How dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you?
You know,
But,
what's funny is that's just crazy, dude. Like, nothing says good game design like people wanting to skip entire fucking puzzles just to get through the story.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But yeah, it's a little janky. It's not like super janky or anything. There was one time that I fell completely through the map, like right in the beginning of the game. In that one spot where the floor falls in and you kind of fall down into the warehouse. Like the first time that I did that, I missed the warehouse and fell completely through the map, like to an infinite falling thing where you just fall forever.
You didn't die?
No, you just fall forever. And I had to restart the game and start all over again. But that didn't happen anymore after that, thankfully. But yeah, the puzzles I just found to be kind of tedious, and that was kind of my big problem with it. Not a terrible game. Again, the story's really cool. The environments are really cool. I do like the exploration part of it. I like the interactions with the creepy AI, which I do think, like Lone Echo, has that ulterior motive for you later in the story, but I don't know that. That's just the feeling I'm getting.
That's how I feel as well. Makes me feel very eerie and not safe.
I'd love to finish it, but I don't know that I'll ever go back to it, just because I didn't find the puzzles very fun. After doing it a few times, I was just kind of done with it. Now, if somebody that has played this comes back and tells me, well, the gameplay is going to open up and they're going to do other stuff, I would probably go back in and play it some more. But it doesn't feel like that right now with where I'm at in the game.
Yeah.
Anyway, right. Assassin 32 says, like turning angled pipes to make water flow from one place to another. Exactly. These are pretty standard flow puzzles. We've seen these in VR from the very early days. They're not really doing anything new here. They've just kind of repackaged it and put a new costume on it, basically.
Yeah.
Anyway, a decent game. Again, it held me for a few hours, but I was ready to be done with it.
Did you talk to the chat?
I kept the chat on there for a while. I thought that it would be more situation specific instead of just scrolling the same stuff over and over again, which it does change a little bit as you progress through the game. But I thought that it would be much more customized to what you were doing than it actually was. It was just
totally
something
missed
there
the
for effect.
opportunity.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I was hoping that that literally I could read the chat and it would be noticing things that I wasn't noticing and really helping drive the tension up with the feeling like I was in danger. But instead we have people on there like just saying a bunch of stupid shit that don't make sense over and over and over again.
Right. And that's what kills it for me with the chat. Because some of it is situational, some of it's funny, some of it's like good, and some of it's repetitive. And it's like, okay, dude, I even told the guy, like, you just fucking said that, dude. Like, what are you doing? I did talk to the chat. I thought I was entertaining myself when I was playing. So, I think it would be cool if it had the ability to, the chat with AI could interact with you. You could talk to it, right? And the chat would, that's the future. It's actually kind of creepy, but that'd be cool.
Looking at this trailer, Roots, I thought I saw a gun in that guy's hand and some enemies. Maybe this is one of those things like like Journey to Foundation. After you play it for a few hours, they finally unlock some action, and it makes it better.
No, he definitely has a gun. It looked like it might have shot electric. I'm not sure, but
I bet it does. I bet it does. Anyway, it's pretty good. I don't know that I'll go back to it, but I did enjoy the time that I put into it. So yeah, if you like these type of puzzle games, you might want to give it a look. We move along. Arcade Paradise VR. We already did a segment on that. I'm not going to rehash everything that we said about it, but it was the PlayStation VR 2 game of the month, and it also came out for Steam this month. And all of the good things that we said about it on PlayStation apply here as well. It's just a good game overall, and I don't really think it matters so much which platform you play this game on. It's equally good on all platforms.
Yep.
We move along to Astro Hunters VR. This is another game that was recently revealed in one of these showcases. I want to say the Upload Showcase featured this, and I wasn't super enthusiastic about it. This is a PvE extraction shooter, or you can play it as a PvPvE extraction shooter. Something, in terms of gameplay, something along the lines of like a Ghost of Tabor type game, but a very different setting here, as we're not going to the battlefield and scavenging for guns and stuff so much. I mean, that's here too. There's lots of guns and weapons and things for you to find, and ammo, tons of that stuff. But on top of that, there's like mining and minerals and gases. It's almost kind of like a No Man's Sky meets Ghost of Tabor type game. We did get in and play this a little bit. Eric and I got into this game last night. And it actually turned out to be pretty good, Eric. Like, I didn't have super high expectations for it because reviews on Steam were mixed. People were citing a lot of jank. So I went into it expecting a lot of jank. And while there was a little bit of jank to it, I wouldn't call it a janky game. It was actually a pretty good experience with super high fidelity graphics and really unique atmosphere and enemies, right?
Yeah, this game is super cool, man. This game is exactly that. This is No Man's Sky, extraction-based looter shooter. And if you like those types of games, and if you like No Man's Sky, I think you're gonna like this game. I think it's really cool. Now, I don't think there's like you can't travel. I don't think to different worlds here. I think this all takes place on one planet. There's no like space exploration, but like everything else feels exactly like No Man's Sky.
I think that there's probably other maps for you to unlock. I just don't think we've unlocked them yet because there's definitely a selection screen when you get in the pod to deploy. There's a screen there where you have to select where you want to go. We just had one thing to select on it, and I don't know if that's because this is in early access or if it's just because we hadn't unlocked anything yet. But I definitely get the feeling that if there aren't more maps in it to unlock right now, that this is something that's definitely on the way.
Yeah, no, I think there definitely will be. I just don't know if you're on like different planets or anything like that. I don't know if you're just, because it seems like you're dropping down from a mothership that's in orbit above a planet. And it looks like you can drop down to different locations on that planet, and I'm sure that each location will have a different like biome, right? Like,
right.
And I don't know what's there now. Like you said, like we didn't maybe unlock a lot of things, or maybe they still have stuff coming, but. I assume that would be what would make the most sense if they did that. But maybe there are other planets. Maybe it's like maybe they set it up like Helldivers, where you are that mothership is movable and you're moving from planet to planet in a solar system, and then you can drop down from there. That would be cool too. But yeah, I mean, where this game ends up going, I am very curious to see because I think there's a lot here.
And I think the fact that we're kind of dancing around these questions kind of alludes to my one big complaint about the game, and that is the lack of a training mode or tutorial. There's nothing really at the front of this game that I saw, maybe I missed it, that I saw that really told you how to play the game. Like, we could tell just from the, exploring the ship that you start out on, that this is a fairly deep game in terms of progression and things that you can loot and collect. You start off with a weapon wall. It works like Ghost of Tabor. If you die on the planet, you lose everything you took in with you. But there's right off the top, there's like 6 different classes of guns that you already have unlocked. There's probably 6 or 8 different types of ammo that you can get. You can collect minerals, you can collect gases, there's crafting for all of that stuff. There's tons of different consumables, all of these different items that you can find, and there's a lot of stuff that you can find. But there's a commander in there that you go to turn in your missions and get your rewards. But we could never find a place to get our mission from. Like we didn't know, if there's a mission system set up in this game, we couldn't find it. And a lot of that, I feel like, has to do with the fact that there was no tutorial telling us where to start. We just kind of had to fumble our way through it, and we enjoyed the game, but we enjoyed it on a very basic level of, beaming out to the planet, exploring. It was super cool. The environment was like this huge open world type environment, with tons of like buildings to loot, wildlife, like these crazy alien creatures you have to watch out for and fight, but also humanoid enemies that you had to fight. Like if you ran into a structure with a bunch of buildings and stuff, that you could pretty much bet that's a base, and there's going to be guys in there that you have to fight. And they weren't pushovers. The AI was kind of stupid, but they stacked the numbers up enough to where like there was challenge there in fighting them. Beyond that, there are ruins on these planets. So like you'll find what looks like a cave, but you go down into it and there's like stairs and hieroglyphs carved into the wall. So there are ruins on the planet too that you can explore. But when you get down in those are occupied by people as well. And again, we just played the PvE version of this. That's not to even take into consideration, if you play the PvP version of it, that there are going to be live people in there trying to kill you as well and take your stuff. But a big open world, high production value, good looking sounding game. The combat was pretty fun. Tons of stuff to loot. Just a general lack of direction and lack of knowledge about the game is really the biggest complaint I had about it. A little bit frustrating. Yes, Eric?
It is. And and to be fair, a lot of these games that are extraction-based shooters that are like, they're supposed to be super hyper realistic, don't have a lot of instructions. Like when Ghost of Tabor originally launched, there was 0 instructions. Like it was like Tarkov. You literally had to go in and just figure everything out from the start. But even Combat Waffle Studios realized really soon is we can't operate in VR like a flat game would, because the frustration level is too high and the friction level is too high to where people will just nope out and take the headset off or go to a different game. You'll put up with more when you're just sitting in front of your computer, drinking a soda, doing whatever, eating chips or whatever, that you can't do in a headset, and like Tarkov, you could have other screens open, or you could have a wiki open that would tell you how to do things, so you could get through it. You can't do that, and even Ghost of Tabor realized we need to put a good tutorial in, and they finally did put a great tutorial in, and I assume that's what Winkley will probably do at some point and figure that out. But it's super frustrating so far because it's so deep. There's so much to it. You can see what you can do. You just don't know how to do it. Like
you can't do a quest, bro. That's the most important part, right? I know they exist.
Figure out how to get the quest.
I know it exists because I saw
how to get it.
In this trailer. It said quest completed, so they exist. But the fact, you guys, how long were you in there and you couldn't find it? That's kind
well. Here's the thing: like our first run, we didn't even do it together. Like we were on the mothership together. Took us a while to figure out how to get on the same ship, but we beamed out to the planet. They have all these pods sitting around that you get into the pod and you go down to the surface of the planet. Eric got in his pod. I got in my pod. We talked. We said, let's go to the volcano. We selected volcano. We each hit it. We both went there. But since we didn't get in the same pod together, Eric went into a different instance and we played separately the first run because we didn't know we were supposed to both get in the same pod together. It's the way it looked, with 4 pods lined up next to one another. We just assumed that we each get our own.
Well,
So we ended up not even playing together until we got back in and just figured it out that we went together with it.
Well, you should have known, like in Helldivers 2, like when we went to the planet together, MASH, we jumped in it together with we had our own pods.
No, we didn't.
Every game has its own pods. And why would you have 4 pods if they're... It's so bizarre.
So counterintuitive. Like, I'm like, why? Like, you just assume that you would each get... And the pods are not big pods. They look like they're single-person pods. Like, me and Wes had to get real comfortable with each other in this pod.
Yeah.
It was that small.
Yeah, we did.
But just the basic stuff here. They have to put something together. And to be fair, it's early access. Maybe they do have a good plan, but
it's not though. It's not though. That's the thing.
Early access?
This is not early access. That's why it's a game of the month contender. It's because it's not early access. This is
no.
Let me verify that, but I'm fairly certain.
No, this can't be. You can't launch this game like this? No way.
Well, welcome to 2024. There's a lot
of
that
logic. Was my whole point. You were talking about comparing it to Ghost of Tabor and all of the stuff it had when it came in. Ghost of Tabor was an early access title.
If Wankley launched this as not an early access title, with the amount of jank and the amount of frustratingly lack of any help here, they're gonna kill this game. Nobody will buy it.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? Like,
well, you would support a game if it was early access. If they told me this is early access, I'm like, man, there's so much here. It's so deep. I can see where they're going with this. I'm going to support it. But if you were like, yep, this is it. This is the game. This isn't early access. This is the game. And I'm like, fuck, this isn't the game. It's broken. It's broken. You can't figure everything out. Again, we can't even get a mission going.
There is no early access tag on this game.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Now, I think that I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think that there is a roadmap out there that they have, they've put out to let people know kind of what's coming for the game. Like an early access game would have, but they did not designate this as early access. There's no tag of it. So
they wanted to be in the contention for Game of the Month.
I guess. And they are. We had a good time, a positive experience with it. Like, this is a game I could see us going back into and playing. Unlike the first game we talked about, where I'm probably not going to go back in. I'd say we will go back to this. We'll probably give them, 2 or 3 months, let them update it again. But we probably will play this again and, hopefully even have more players with us next time when we go in. It was fun, but it
what's
was
the price
lost.
tag on this?
$20.
How do you squeeze 4 people into a pod?
I don't even know if you could. Like, I guess. It's not physical space. It's VR space, but it's so weird.
But why 4 pods then? What are the odds that you're going to have a group of 4 people go in and say, you know what, let's all go in separate instances? It doesn't make sense.
It's kind of weird. We thought maybe that it just dropped us down, like, on different parts of the planet and that we had to find one another. But, like, we went to the same point on the map. And I was there and he was there and we didn't see one another. So I don't think we were on the same instant.
No, but then you went into the same pod and you were in the same.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, we figured it out. We just got lucky. Figured it out.
Yeah.
But there's so much going on here. Like, it's even deeper than Ghost of Tabor, because like Wes is talking about, there's all these kind of different minerals that you collect. Think of all the shit you collect in No Man's Sky. There's gases that you collect. There's minerals that you collect. There's different upgrades that you collect, like that will upgrade your ability to run faster. That'll upgrade your ability to jump higher. That'll upgrade your ability to shoot better. And you get all those too, and you're supposed to do stuff with this stuff.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to combine them, and you're supposed to build stuff.
Yeah, I found 2 augments, right? I found an augment that makes me run faster. It's like this chip that you find. I found an augment that makes me run faster, and I found one that upgrades my health. I couldn't figure out how to deploy it. The instructions tell you to plug it in to deploy it. I couldn't find where to plug it in at. Like, I looked on my little tablet thing. I couldn't find a slot on there. I looked in my gloves. I couldn't find a slot on there. So, like, everything else that I scavenged for my run, I found a storage place for it. Like, there's a storage area for you to put your minerals. There's tanks for you to put your gases in, and all of these different, like, ammo and weapons. You have all of this area. I think I might have lost my augments because I couldn't find a place to store them, and I couldn't find a way to activate them. So I don't know that stuff's going to be in my inventory when I go back in, which is kind of frustrating. Again, because there's no tutorial and I don't know how to play.
You know what the devs would probably tell you, Wes?
Get good, son. You gotta get
Get
good.
good, baby.
You got to get good. You're like, I don't even know what's fucking happening here. No.
I mean, there's even a special There's a special item wheel that if you just start pushing buttons, it comes up. That's the only way I found it. That allows you to like grab a like pickaxe that you see here in the video, and that allows you to grab a laser gun so you can mine some of these ore. And then there's another like a fire thing for a fire gun, and then there was a couple different things there, but like it doesn't tell you that you even have that thing. Like I found it by mistake.
Yeah. You know what? There's probably a tutorial. There has to be one in
has
there.
to
We just
be.
didn't see it, right?
We looked all over the mothership. Like I went into every room on the mothership when I was waiting for you to get to the mothership in the first time. I went to every room and like just looked around and trying to figure out if it was going to tell me anything. I went up to there was a couple of different NPCs there that you're supposed to be able to talk to. No, I couldn't talk to any of them, get anything out of them. If it's there, good job hiding it, Winkley. Nobody knows it's there.
Yeah.
Well, you want to make it
So here's the
interesting.
thing. A lot of promise here, right? They definitely need to put in a training phase to the game. I guess a lot of the jank they worked out, because now looking at the Steam page, the where it was all mixed reviews when I went into the game, the page last. Now the recent ones are mostly positive, so they must have worked out a lot of that stuff out. We're going to be coming back to this game next month, Eric, because it's coming to Quest, I think, in like 2 weeks. So we're definitely not done with it yet. I'm hoping that the developer watches this, and I mean, they're getting ready to launch on the single platform that has the most casual gamers on it of any of the VR platforms. You need to tell people how to play your game. Do not launch this on Quest until you have a tutorial, please. Even if it's a shitty, read through the tutorial thing where people just have to click through and read how to play the game. You got to tell people how to play this game. And if it's just the case that we can't find missions because you haven't put them in the game yet, you need to tell people that. There needs to be a screen when you come in to the like a lot of these early access games will have a screen in the menu that tells you, okay, what's coming soon and what's not here yet. Because we spent 10 or 15 minutes trying to find a mission in this game and couldn't find one. And all the other things that we talked about, we couldn't figure out how to do. You need to teach people, what's here, what's not here, and how to do it. Because what's here is good. You have the base of a good game here. But you only get one chance to make a first impression. And if you launch this game like it is on Quest, people are going to play it one time and put it down.
I'm kind of curious. Mr. Lord Beavis said that he's liking this game so far, more of his speed compared to Ghost of Tabor, and somebody else was also saying they were liking the game. And so if you're liking the game, can you enlighten us? Like, how do you play it? Like, because unless you went in and did the same thing that Wes and Mash did.
Ruuts has got a lot of stuff in it that's like in Deep Rock Galactic, and I know a lot of people like that game. It's got a lot of that mining and stuff in it, a lot of different mining tools and different things that you can collect for crafting. I don't know how to craft. Like, I don't know how to do that. So I don't know if you're just collecting that shit for a future crafting mode, or if there's a crafting mode in it already that I just don't know how to do.
My
But
biggest
there's a lot to it.
my biggest thing, because we talk about so many times, and D's been going into No Man's Sky a lot lately, and I went into it recently, like a while back, maybe a month ago, and just like always, I started, and it was like, okay, go here, gather this, go gather this, go gather this, go gather this, go gather this. Oh, I want to fly here, I got to go get fuel. Oh, I want to do this, I got to go get this. I got to the point where I don't want to gather anymore. And so that's what I see in this, a lot of the running around and gathering. I don't know. I can't speak for Deep Rock Galactic, the co-op VR. I didn't really care for that like everybody else did, but the Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, the flat game, which is completely different, it's got there's reasons for gathering all the different minerals, and it's part of the gameplay loop. And so I guess if they had really legit reasons for it, and it's part of that gameplay loop, it could be good. I did go into this game and poke around myself, just not co-op. I didn't care for it as much as you guys did, but I didn't play it with you guys, but it just didn't grab me.
And no story. Yeah, there is that.
Yeah, and there's no story too. Like nothing else to pull you through. Like it's more of a sandboxy game, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it has to have a story though. Like literally, like
True.
if they get the stuff right and like just give you an idea of what you're doing. Like Ghost of Tabor is an extremely popular game. Has sold tens of millions of dollars worth of copies of this game, of their game, and there's zero story there. Like there's zero story there. So I mean, extraction based shooters, if they're done right, can be really really good. But
Right.
again, you have to tell people how to get through them and do them. And I think what's different about this one, Ruuts, where I think you might like this better than like No Man's Sky, there's more combat here, way more combat than in No Man's Sky, because it's not just PvP. You have PvPVE, just like Tarkov.
Right.
So like when you go into a map, you're going to go in against, maybe 15 other real players. You're going to go in against a whole bunch of AI. And like Wes said, the AI is varied because you have these creature AI, which some are really small and docile that you can still kill. Some are huge, like elephant size or bigger. And then you have, like a humanoid AI that will try and kill you also. So there's a lot of, I would say there's way more combat here than in any of those games. And if you do an extraction-based shooter properly, it's not for everybody. Like me and Wes were talking last night. That's not his kind of game. But for people like me and people that enjoy Tarkov or Ghost of Tabor, there is a game here that I think could be really, really good. But they need to figure this out real quick, or they're going to lose their audience.
Yep. Yep. You can't go too early. How many times I say this at work every day? You can't go too quick. You got to go until you're ready. And even having something that's super polished, if it's missing things, then you got to hold on to it until it's ready, because once you lose them, they're gone. It's very hard to recapture an audience, right?
Right.
So hopefully they get this thing figured out quickly, because I think it's coming to Quest within 2 weeks. So, is it coming to PSVR 2? That's a good question. I'm not sure about that. I want to say yes, but I don't know. Let me do a quick search here. Astro Hunters VR PSVR 2 go. That's Astrobot. That's not Astro Hunters. Boo.
Astro Bot Hunters.
Multiplayer extraction shooter Astro Hunters VR will come to PlayStation VR 2.
Nice.
This, according to the Twitter account, PlayStation VR News. So there you go. All right, so yeah, this will be coming to PlayStation VR 2 at some point.
This would look great on that headset. I mean, this is super colorful.
Yeah, I played it on that headset. It burned my fucking eyes out.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. No, it was good. You're right, and I do agree with you, Ruuts. This isn't the type of game that would hold me long term, but there's lots of players out there like Eric that they don't need that end game, right? That it's just the thrill, the chase for them that this will sustain, and it's got more variability in it than a game like Ghost of Tabor, because it isn't just weapons and ammo that you're going in there after, but all of this different crafting material and stuff. So there's more to it in that aspect. And I got to imagine there's a lot more potential for environment variability, given the fact that this is an outer space type game.
Yeah, if they do it right, it could be really cool. And or, you know, like Eric said, they're running out of time, or maybe that was you that was saying that. But
anyways, it was good. It was fun. Definitely needs some work, but I really enjoyed it. Speaking of games that I enjoyed but still need some work, last week on this very channel, we covered a game called The Burst. Again, this is a game that was reviewed by the majority of VR YouTube. I don't think I saw a single. Well, no, I take that back. I think YouTubers mainly gave it negative reviews. I did read some positive reviews of the game, though. It wasn't just completely negative. Most of the YouTubers that were shitting on the game were doing so because the AI is kind of dumb, and the AI is kind of dumb. We demonstrated that in real time. But Ruuts, this game is a bit of an enigma to me because before we covered it last week, I played through the first level. And it took him over an hour, maybe close to 90 minutes for me to play through the first chapter of the game. And I really enjoyed it a lot. I mean, there was, the vehicle, the Doom buggy that you're driving. I found that to be super fun. The grappling was awesome how they implemented it with these gloves. It's the closest thing, and I know it's a fucking played out trope in VR, but the way that they tackle grappling in this game is the closest thing to Spider-Man that I've seen in VR, where you've literally got webs coming out of the gloves, and they have a very different physics than most of the grappling mechanics that you see in VR. You're literally using it to grab things and throw to yourself and swinging. There's wall running, all of this stuff in the intro chapter that I really enjoyed a lot. And for that reason, we decided to stream this last Saturday. Played this game for 3 more hours live on stream last week, and never once did I wall run anymore. Never once did I swing around and grapple around anymore. All of the stuff that I loved the most about the first chapter, which, by the way, was played as a completely different character than the second chapter onward. All of the stuff that I loved the most about it was gone for some reason. And I don't know if it ever comes back before the end of the game, because certainly we played this a long time and covered a lot of ground last week, and it never resurfaced once in what was a very, diverse original game in the first chapter turned out to be something a little bit more run of the mill as we got into the meat of the game. So I'm a bit confused here, and I really don't know what to say about the Burst without going back into it and seeing if it picks up. But this is a game that starts off really strong and then seems to get weaker as you go.
I'm super confused. As you were talking, I've been watching the trailer a couple of different times, and it clearly says use gun, use hook, anything goes. No, not anything except for wall running and using your hook. Because I'm watching him use it, and it does look pretty cool. It's very confusing, but it does have some aspects of the game that were cool. I'm curious to know if the hook comes back or not, because that was the biggest thing that was different, right? You were looking for it. You just wanted to hook it once or twice more, No
I probably played this game an extra 45 minutes just trying to show people how cool the grappling was, and it never came back. I love the world that they've constructed here, this kind of post-apocalyptic Borderlands / Mad Max world. They've got a cool narrative going on about this kind of prison planet being run by corporations, and the galactic government kind of coming down against it. They've got a cool narrative, even though the graphics are kind of basic. The art style really makes up for a lot of that, covers up a lot of it. There's a wide variety of different guns and things that you can use in this game, and the minute to minute combat's pretty fun with it. Like, it's a fun game to play. It seems like a missed opportunity here, Eric. What it seems like, because there's a demo that came out before the game launched, and I didn't play that demo, but the way that the story changes and the character changes from the first chapter to the second onward, it seems like the first level was probably that demo. And then after the demo, they went in to develop the game. But for whatever reason, they stripped out what made the demo so special and just released a basic, like, lazy, less than version of the original concept.
This one boggles my mind. Like, I went into it too, and like I don't understand why they would like go as far as to figure this mechanic out, figure it out how it works and how it, get it right, and then not use it in the game. I don't understand. Like, and I kept thinking, like, maybe they switch back and forth, and like, you'll start with one character, you'll use it, you'll go to this other character, you don't use it, and maybe we'll go back. But like,
Right.
I didn't play that far into it, but you said you played 3 hours. If you're not back to it yet at 3 hours full of gameplay, I mean, it's a super missed opportunity at that point. Even if they went back to it way later in the game, like, why would you wait that long to go to it? Like, it's such...
Didn't go far enough. 3.5 hours is what.
That may be the case. That may be the case, because I did very clearly play through different sections of the game. Like the level, I played through probably 3 levels or more on stream, Ruuts.
Yeah.
But it was all part of the same, like, narrative. I was still going after the same big bad. I never had that boss fight that I felt like was coming. So it very well could have been the case that I quit right before the big bad at the end of that level, and then when I beat that guy, it takes me into a new chapter and all of this stuff gets reintegrated into the game. That's certainly possible. But I mean, I played a long time and covered a lot of ground for that not to come back in, and it has me worried. If that stuff does get reintegrated into the game, this is a really fun game. While the criticism of the AI is legitimate, there are some scenarios where the AI was just fucking stupid. I'm like literally standing next to it, guys staring at me and not shooting at me. That should never happen. It wasn't game breaking for me because it wasn't always dumb. Like, when the guys see you and engage with you, they move behind cover. They have an accurate shot from long distance. They have the same type of weapon diversity that you do. So like in the firefight can be fun when the AI is switched on. It's just not always switched on. So I really don't know where to rank this game at. Like, typically we play 4 or 5 hours of a game. We have a pretty good sense of what it is. Like, I don't know. Like, is this game, by the time you get to the end of it, is it more like the first chapter, or is it more like the what I played on stream? I really don't know where to rank it, and that's a weird place to be when you're talking about Game of the Month.
Yeah, it's possible you could have gone on forever. Remember, that was the point. It's like, Wes, it just kept feeling like it was like around the corner, like and it just like kept going, and it was like nothing differentiating anything from each other, right? It just felt like it was never ending. So.
Yeah,
which is a shame because I think that the gunplay is here. I mean, I think it's got a cool like story. I think the visuals are decent. Why lose one of the best mechanics you have? I don't understand, but because there is a lot to like here.
So Looper says Burst AI or Stride Fates AI. In my opinion, this is a better game than Stride Fates.
Right.
Even as it is the parkour felt better. The grappling was awesome when they used it. and the combat
Way
was
better.
better than Stride Fates. So I feel like this is definitely, at least in VR YouTube, this is an underrated game. Like I feel like it got shit on probably a little bit more than it expected, or it should have. And that was probably the reason why they didn't give us a review key, is because they didn't want one more asshole YouTuber shitting on their game. But it's definitely underrated. There's definitely fun to be had here. I just don't know how good it is. It's a good game. I just don't know how good it is. It is better than Stride Fates, in my opinion, though.
It is, and if the devs are out there, please in the comments, just let us know why. Where is this hook? I think because somebody said, I think it was Radio Run or Tech or somebody said they played the demo, and they really liked it, and they said that it was the first level was the demo, is what they were thinking. And
So
so
that's what I thought. That's when I heard there was a demo, I thought that might be the case, because the second level is so different from the first one, right?
right.
Completely
And so-
different character and everything.
But I don't know why you took the best parts of the game mechanics and scrapped it then.
Maybe this is like a 12 to 15 hour story campaign, and
right. Each
like
character's
we're
different.
still in, right. Maybe we're still in the early parts and we haven't unlocked the super high tech gloves yet. That is one thing I noticed. In the first chapter, the gloves have web shooters on every finger. But after you get into the second chapter, it's only on the first two fingers. So maybe I have to get glove upgrades before I can start grappling and wall running and doing all that stuff.
Yeah, that would make sense. That would be cool.
But if I knew that to be the case, this might be my game of the month for PC this month. But I don't know how to vote on potential. Like you can't really vote on potential. You have to go by what you know. And right now the jury's out on this. I don't know it's as good as it could be. I love the maps. The maps are so big, and you get on that dune buggy and you start running down these broken roads, and you run across these abandoned facilities that you could totally pass up if you wanted to, but me, I stop at every one of them and loot them. I love stuff like that. There's a lot that I really like about this game. I just hope it gets back to the quality level of the first level, because that was what brought me back.
It has to be that way. I mean, it actually makes sense. Like you go a little bit further in, you get the new gloves. I mean, it says right in there, use hook. So like, I'm going to assume they wouldn't say that just for the first level.
Yeah. I don't know. It's an enigma. It's a mystery. I don't know. I don't know what to think about it. But it's good. It's better than you heard. So
Right.
The AI is dumb, but it doesn't break the game.
The guns are cool. There's so many,
Guns are
right?
definitely cool.
Yeah.
There's a flamethrower in the first level. Never
Yeah.
saw it again after that, but it was in the first level.
It was right around the next corner if you would have just kept going for like 5 more minutes.
Probably. Anyways, moving along, we did have one more port come to PCVR this month, and a fairly solid one at that. Outta Hand came to PC. Not going to spend a ton of time talking about this, as this is a game that we have covered in months past, as this game came to Quest quite some time ago. Finally coming to PC. One of the better, if not the best, of this type of game. And this is one of those games that's a first person platformer where you're using your hands for locomotion, but they kind of cracked the code on it where other games have failed. They made your movement super bouncy and jump oriented, and that makes all the difference here. Being able to get aerial with it adds a lot more fun. And then, you unlock abilities and things as you go along in the game that really kind of set it apart from other games like No More Rainbows, or in my opinion, even Stilt. A lot of people love Stilt. I think Outta Hand is a better game than Stilt, in my opinion. And I think it's by a pretty fair margin, honestly.
Yeah, it feels a lot better in my opinion as well. And it's more of a platformer. And it's one of those games that as you get better, the more time it just feels better, right? As you're to get the techniques. So yeah, I
Yeah,
would
the
agree.
combat's definitely better. Like the combat and enemies, definitely better than Stilt. Well, the one thing Stilt does have for it are the multiplayer modes. Those are super fun. But like in terms of like the campaign, I don't even think it's close. Like Out of Hand's a like a full fledged, like you could almost see playing this game flat. It's that level of quality. I don't know that I could say the same thing for Stilt. Eric, thoughts on Out of Hand?
I love this game. It's a really, really good game. I definitely agree with you. I like it better than Stilt. Stilt's great. I mean, it's just a different type of game, but yeah, I like this one better than Stilt. It's got a really cool like story to it. The movement is way better than I thought I was gonna like it because I'm not a big Gorilla Tag fan, but I think it works really well with this game. Um, yeah, and it's great. I mean, this is one of the better games. If you like a platformer that's got cool movement style, I think this is a really good one to go with. And you can freaking fling yourself in this game when you get good at this. I mean, it's probably one of the best feelings, like how far you can throw yourself and like doing double jumps and like doing wall maneuvers. It's just super cool.
Yeah, there's just a lot more variance in this game. You could. It seems like there's a lot more um, investment in this game. The scope of the game is bigger in every way. Uh, the This is a full fledged adventure game, right? Like it's a platformer, but it's an adventure. There are enemies. There's a story going on here. It's a very good game looking graphically. It does use cartoony graphics, but it actually looks good. It doesn't look like it's super retro or anything. It looks like a modern game, which is cool. And yeah, I really enjoy this game a lot, and I'm glad that PC gamers have the opportunity to play it now. This is a good pickup for the Steam VR library, and I hope that it comes to PlayStation VR 2 as well.
Now Girolo can play it. He probably won't.
Right.
There's a
Yeah,
quest
Probably
first,
won't, but it can. Inferno 9 agrees. He said, I really enjoyed Out of Hand. Yeah, it's really good. And GameCat Behemoth says that he hope it comes to PSVR 2. I agree with that as well. I hope it comes. I think a lot of people are missing out on that. I think the PlayStation crew would really enjoy this game. Anyway, so the question is, what is the PCVR game of the month? And I'm kind of lost here, guys. Like Hello Crew World, I enjoyed, but it had very obvious flaws with it, in terms of the repetition of the puzzles and it kind of getting boring after a while. There's Arcade Paradise VR, which just won Game of the Month on PlayStation. And everything we said about it on PlayStation holds here. It's the same game, pretty much. Astro Hunters has a lot of promise, but there's a lot of questions around that one and a lot that we weren't able to figure out in our time in the game last night, which is unfortunate. A lot of potential, but we don't know. And almost the same thing could be said about the burst. Like I said, if the burst turns out to be this like 10 to 15 hour campaign where eventually you get all of your abilities back and then some, I think that this would probably be my pick for PCVR Game of the Month. But I don't know that to be the case. So how can I honestly vote on it on just potential alone? If we were voting on potential, Astro Hunters might be at the top of the list. We can't really do that. And then Out of Hand is a tried and true solid game. It's very good. I don't know that I prefer it over like a shooter like The Burst, or even a puzzle adventure like Hello Crew World, but it's certainly more polished than either of those two games and more complete. So I don't know. I guess we'll start with you, Eric. Where are you leaning for PC VR Game of the Month?
Yeah, I mean, I like the burst. I think it's cool, but like, I don't know about this. I just don't know about this the grapple thing, and it boggles my mind, and I just can't, in good conscience, vote this thing for game of the month when like it's so much up in the air. Like maybe it's there, I don't know, but if the devs want to tell me 5 hours in you get to get your grapple back, I mean, then I'm still not voting for it because this is the dumb move. But if it's not there at all, I mean, it's even worse. So. You know, and then I would say I would definitely will vote like my game, like, and if they added tutorial, I would definitely vote for Astro Hunters. I think it's super cool. Like, if you're gonna vote for most potential here, I think Astro Hunters has the most potential out of any of these games. If you want me to vote for the most complete game, that is a full game, that is, you know, something you should invest your money in right now, Out of Hand is the game. So I don't know where to go. I
Even
guess I
over
gotta go
Arcade
Out of Hand.
Paradise. Even
Oh,
over
Arcade
Arcade Paradise.
Paradise. I forgot Arcade Paradise. No. Probably Arcade Paradise. Sorry, I forgot about Arcade Paradise. Sorry.
Yeah, Roots. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's yeah, it's hard. Those are the two choices right there: Arcade Paradise and Out of Hand. And
Unfortunately,
yeah, everything else is kind of like, it seems to be works in progress, or have things that we don't understand about each one of them, right?
right?
Like even Hello Crew World, do they have a gun? And what's it like? I guess it does have a gun. So I don't know. I lean towards one of those two. I'd say either one to me doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? Like, because I could say Out of Hand is it's like the other games. Arcade Paradise won hands down, because all those other games I think were good, but they weren't on the same level. Out of Hand is different in a lot of ways. I guess it's probably not on the same level. I don't know. It's hard for me.
Yeah, hard for me as well. Because I'm in another one of these situations, like I was in for PlayStation. Like, you know, if I had to pick out of those two games, which one I enjoy more, it's probably Out of Hand. Like, that's more my speed, my style of game. But you know, when I think about other players and what would probably land better with the general population of gamers out there, it would probably be Arcade Paradise. But they're both very complete, very polished games. The only two on the list that we didn't have anything negative to say about. So I agree. While I really would like to sit here and tell you that the Burst or Astro Hunters is the best game out on PC this month, the fact is that they both had very obvious flaws, where these other two games didn't really. Um,
Corporate Zombie says Arcade Paradise, the laundry game. Oh my god! Yeah, that's what's funny is it's called Arcade Paradise, and everybody focuses on the laundry. And I'll ask you this, Corporate Zombie: what about the toilet? Everybody forgets about, you get to clean the toilet too. It's not just laundry, right?
there's a lot more to it than that, but yeah,
It
a lot of-
absolutely.
a lot-
That's how you get to it, right? That's part of one mechanic. There's an arcade involved, right? So
Yeah, Looper says you don't really have to do that much laundry, which is true. If like you try to like speed through and get to the arcade stuff, you know, you don't spend a whole lot of time doing laundry. Just maybe an hour of the game, the first hour you do laundry. Um, Corporate Zombie says, "Has this month been that bad?" Like, no, it really hasn't been that bad. But yeah, if you boil down Arcade Paradise to its first hour, I can definitely see why you would think that. But there's a lot more to it than just that stuff you do at the beginning. Looks like we're hand in hand once again in the chat. Out of Hand, Arcade Paradise VR, split evenly. So we're gonna leave it open
Wow.
for another minute or two here before we decide. Because I'm with you, Roots. Like either one of those two, I think are deserving. When we put it in the context of like which one would legitimately challenge for PCVR Game of the Year, again, I think that Arcade Paradise kind of fits into that conversation a little bit better than Out of Hand. But just because it's more of a like a mainstream type game, and that's the only reason, really. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where to go with it.
Corporate Zombie says I put Arcade Paradise next to Prison Boss. Yeah, remember Prison Boss? You could like hide your
Yeah.
shit. That was cool.
I remember not playing Prison Boss.
I remember seeing Navy play it. I think, or maybe it was Rowdy. Yeah, it was Rowdy. Yeah. It
Well,
was.
let me put it to you guys this way, because it looks like we're going to come down to a draw unless somebody comes in here and puts in a tiebreaker real quick. There's two ways we can look at this. One is the way I just mentioned, like which one has more of a belonging in the game of the year conversation. I think Arcade Paradise is probably that the answer to that question. Another way of looking at it, though, is Arcade Paradise just won an award. Neither of these games are going to be game of the year, realistically. Do we want to give Outta Hand that recognition just because it's just as good and Arcade Paradise already has won one? That's another way we could go with
That's
it.
true. Jay, the foveated rendered game cat, says, I did laundry for 1 hour, then 25 hours of arcade fun.
There you go. Looks like Arcade Paradise, as was the case the last time, everyone logged into their second accounts and put it over the top. So, yeah, I think that's probably the right choice. Probably the deserving winner anyway. So, what do you think, guys? Arcade Paradise VR game of the month for PC?
Sounds good to me.
I like it.
JPEG Q says, I would have enjoyed Prison Boss more if everyone wasn't an egg. And I just think that's kind of racist against eggs. No, just kidding. Is there such a thing? No, but there probably will be in this fucking crazy world. You just wait. Somebody's gonna say it. Crazy.
The incredible edible egg. All right.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Arcade Paradise VR. You are the winner. 2 of the 3 platforms. It may have even won on Quest now that I think about it when it came out on Quest. Obviously, a very high quality title, even if Corporate Zombie's not a big fan. People are. People like that game.
Yeah.
All right. We move along to the third and final platform, Quest. And as is typically the case, we see this often on Game of the Month, where we get a lot of ports and things on PlayStation and PC. We typically get some new stuff on Quest. Well, there's still ports, obviously. Most of the new releases that we see these days are on the standalone platform, and that's certainly the case this month, as we got the sequel to a very popular Gen 1 PCVR game in Zero Caliber. Zero Caliber 2 launched this month. And, a lot of questions going into it because of the obviously botched launch of Gambit from Xreal last year. And a lot of people left with a sour taste in their mouth, us included, from that. But worries about what kind of state this game would launch in. Eric, you and I played this game probably 6 weeks before it launched, early access, and it was in a pretty good state at that point. But the game as it stands today is in an even better state. It has received multiple big updates, adding in all sorts of graphical quality of life upgrades and new features. And I think that this is hands down now a better version of the original Zero Caliber. It's still Zero Caliber. This isn't a whole new game. But it's a sequel. This is a legit sequel to Zero Caliber. And the part that Zero Caliber really lacked in, having a cohesive story campaign, this game delivers that. In addition to kind of like having new level design features and things like that, this game has a cohesive story campaign to it, which is what I really wanted out of it. So I'm fairly impressed with this title, and I had a lot of fun with it, especially given the fact that this is squad-based combat, and you can bring up to 3 of your friends in the game with you. Thoughts on Zero Caliber 2?
It is definitely Zero Caliber. I'll say that, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, Zero Caliber was a really, really good game, and if you liked Zero Caliber, you're gonna really, really like Zero Caliber too. Like I do think it's an improvement all along the board while staying true to the first game, and I think it's great. Like we had a lot of fun, and we played quite a bit. I want to say we played for over an hour, probably 2 hours of multiplayer that night.
Oh yeah. We
Um,
played quite a bit of it. Yeah.
and I think we could have stayed longer. Like if we hadn't ended up having to jump out, but I mean, I think we were having a really good time when we got out. I thought the missions were fun. I thought the weapons were great. I thought the putting the mechanic of putting the attachments on the weapons that you could find throughout the different houses. I thought was super cool, and everything worked really well. And again, this was 6 to 8 weeks ago, or something like that. So like I know they've put a lot of work into it since then. So um,
Yeah,
and,
you know, one of the big problems we had with it at the time was that there were some places that it didn't look super good graphically,
hmm.
and I can confirm that it is a better looking game now. Like some of the animations and some of the graphics were super questy back then, and it's still kind of questy, but it's definitely much improved over the beta version that we played.
Yeah,
It,
and
it
and, and that's one of the things that I mean when I say that it's going to feel like Zero Caliber. Zero Caliber wasn't a great looking game either, and this isn't going to be the most realistic looking game on Quest. It's just, but it's fun and it works.
is it coming to PC? Do we know yet? If they decided if we're worthy of it coming yet or no?
They have not confirmed that. They haven't denied it. They haven't really talked about it, I don't think. I know every time that they post something on their Discord, there's a vocal minority of people that come on there and basically try to push them in that direction. But the majority of people are Quest players, and people are quite happy with it.
Yeah, but it's
Um,
because of the way that they came out and they announced that if the sales are good enough, if we as consumers do a good enough job buying the game, they'll consider bringing a PC game. The original was a PC game to begin with. I feel like the PC gamers feel like they got slighted. I don't think that they're in the wrong at all, in that respect anyway. But I don't know. I didn't go in and play with you guys, but I did go in there, and I my biggest thing in this game is it does look better, and the game everything works well. I just didn't care for the first game to begin with. I was vocal about that, even, and having my friends with me isn't enough to make it fun. Somebody was saying that in the Discord earlier that they didn't think it was the best game either, but playing with friends with friendly fire, and that I can see where that can make it fun. I don't know. There's just something about it. Maybe it's a sour taste in my mouth. I don't know. I'll never know because they fucked me over like they did. So, you know what I mean? That's just the way it is. It went down the way it did, and it what it is. So,
oh, well, definitely not a game for everyone, but if you're a fan of story-based military shooters, this has some cool, unique gun mechanics, like Eric was alluding to with the attachments. There is a cool story to it with and it's not like super realistic either. That's something I liked about the story, Eric, is like it's almost like a GI Joe episode, right, with really over the top, like super evil characters and stuff, like Cobra
There was a
Commander.
character looked like Cobra, right? It was looked like Cobra
Yeah,
Commander.
yeah. So
And
that
even
that
like the
was really
girl
cool.
with him looked like the girl. There was a girl with the dude that looked like Cobra Commander. And remember, I don't remember her name, but Cobra Commander had like a second in command that was a woman and looked just
Yeah,
like her.
yeah. So yeah, definitely some fun to be had there. Yeah, I like the level design better. Like I think this is a better version of Zero Caliber. The only thing that the original Zero Caliber has over this is PC graphics, but everything else I think is an improvement for this game over that one. Moving along, Hello Cruel World. We already talked about, and pretty much everything that we said in the PC version or segment on this game, we were really talking about the Quest version of the game because that was the version we played. So all of that applies equally here. A fun game for a while, but definitely starts to wear out its welcome after a few hours. We digress to a port. Galaxy Kart came into full launch on the Quest Store this month, along with about 1,000 other games out of App Lab. But this is a game that we've covered previously here, a game that we had a lot of fun with on PlayStation VR 2 as we were on there playing with our, super cool headsets and our racing wheels. But a bit of a different experience here on Quest. Fun. Definitely fun on Quest. A good variety of levels here. There's I want to say 18 levels or something on here, and a number of different characters and cars that you can unlock. Eric and I got into this and played for a good while yesterday and had fun with it. But definitely a lesser than version here on Quest than what we experienced on PlayStation VR. Would you think that's fair to say, Eric?
Yeah, definitely. It's unfortunate too because I don't know, and I love VR Monkey. They're some of my favorite developers, and I don't know why. I really feel like they could have done a better job with the Quest version, because
At least the Quest 3 version, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's I should say that. Yeah, you're right. Quest 3 version. Because the visuals are a huge downgrade. Of course they would be from the PlayStation VR 2, but they're such a big downgrade that I'm like, this looks like almost like a Quest 2 game, on a Quest 3 headset, and it I don't know, it bothered me enough to where I was like, man, I know this developer, and I know how good they are. I know they could do better here. We've seen way better visuals, and that's the only thing. That's not the only thing, I should say that. Some of the controls, Wes, with the steering wheel and grabbing the
Yep.
power ups is really annoying, and the controls get really funky. Other than those two things, though, the tracks, the cars, the power ups, I love it, man. We had a lot of fun yesterday, despite some of the downfall.
Yeah. So that's all very fair. And, you say this looks like a Quest 2 game. In a lot of ways, this looks like a Quest 1 game. The tracks are great. Don't get me wrong. I think the tracks are the star of the show here. Way better tracks now than what it had at launch. And those tracks absolutely are just as fun to play here as they are anywhere else. But graphically, this game seems like it's struggling to run on Quest 3, and there's really no good excuse or reason for that. The aliasing was heavy in this game. The draw distances were low. The level of detail, line was very obvious, and worst of all, the fixed foveated rendering was just atrocious in this game. There's a very clear square line in your field of view, and those of you who had a Quest 1 will remember this because most of the games back then had this. But the level of detail between what's in the center of your view and what's at the edge of the lenses is like night and day different. The resolution is so low outside of the foveation line that the text in the game was unreadable. If you look down a little bit and try to read text through the top of the lens, you can't read it. It's just completely pixelated, shimmery mess. And that translates to all of these very beautiful levels. It just makes them look all shimmery and junky when we all know what the Quest 3 is capable of, or what the Quest 2 even is capable of. And we feel like that there is a better version of this game to be had here. It just needs some more polish. So I know why they came out of early access. They came out of early access because App Lab ended, but I feel like they would have been more well served to keep this one in the oven a little bit longer, optimize it, put out a Quest 3 patch to upgrade the visuals, and they would have a much more polished experience here for the gamers. With that said, we had fun playing it. I don't want this to come off as totally negative. There were a number of Quest games that came out this month. Some of them got cut and didn't get nominated. This one got nominated because it's very fun on Quest or wherever you play it. But this is definitely the worst version of the game. And like Eric said, it's not just because of the graphics, which were the biggest problem, but there's a problem too where you're steering here with a virtual wheel. You're steering with one hand and you're grabbing your power-ups and items with the other hand. But literally about half of the time that you go to grab your power-up, the game registers that for whatever reason as you trying to grab the steering wheel. And the effect that had is you'll be going around a curve, steering perfectly well. You go to grab your power up, and then all of a sudden, it accidentally grabs your wheel, and it causes you to veer off in the opposite direction and run into the wall or run off the track. This happened countless times to me and Eric, and basically made the game a lot more difficult to play than it should have been.
It's a good excuse though. If I suck, I'll just be like, dude, it's that fucking
Damn
thing.
wheel.
God damn it. Steer me in the wall again. Son of a bitch.
It's amazing though, like the difference, Roots. Like, remember when we played it on PlayStation, and like how much fun we had with the wheel? Like, so doing this game with the wheel and pedal on PlayStation VR 2 and then the visuals that the PlayStation VR 2 has, it's like night and day over this version of the game, because like, and I like Wes said, you should buy the game either way. Like, if you only have a Quest, you should buy this game because it's fun and the base core gameplay is here and you'll have fun with it, especially multiplayer. But if you have an option, it is so much better with the other version than with the virtual wheel. The PlayStation version is so much better.
Yeah, it's way better. And you can play, so the way you can play it on PlayStation is with a single motion controller and the wheel. So you still have your in-game hand to grab your items and shoot and play the game, but you're steering with the in-life wheel and pedal, and it's a head and shoulders. It's like a whole different game playing it that way. Assassin 32 VR in the chat says this is why we needed AppLab. Not necessarily. When AppLab went away, Meta gave all of those titles the option of putting the new version of AppLab on, which is just an early access tag. The same way that Steam VR has an early access tag, the Meta Store now has an access tag. I think it's good that AppLab went away because now all of those games are discoverable with the search bar, and that was not the case before.
Right.
But we have games like this that should have taken that early access tag, and they didn't. And that's on them. That's not on Meta, you know.
Right.
Roots, did you try playing the Quest version of this?
I did. I went in front and raced a couple of races, and I found exactly what you said to be the case. It actually didn't look the best, but it felt the same. You know, outside of adaptive triggers and all that type of stuff. I think there was adaptive triggers in the PlayStation's version. I thought that was part of why we liked it. But yeah, I thought it felt good, and but yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, it was fun, just not as good as it should have been. Right. Anyway, a good game. Again, if you're a Quest only gamer, I definitely recommend the game. You should buy it. It was just a bit disappointing because this is one of my favorite experiences on PlayStation VR 2, and I had super high expectations for it on Quest, and it just unfortunately didn't live up to our expectations.
Well, Eric Masher says this game is freaking awesome, according to the trailer here.
Did I say that?
Yeah, that's what it says.
The PlayStation version.
Yeah, this is what. This wasn't about.
Well, they got me in the trailer. I didn't even know. Holy crap.
How crazy
Eric
is that?
Masher says that this is a lazy port.
Yeah, that's going to be in the Quest.
Here's the problem too. I literally the developers of this game, VR Monkey, are some of the nicest and best developers that I know out there. Like, I know they can do a better job with this, and that's to me what it is. And I guarantee if I ask them, they're gonna be like, we could have done a better job. And I hope they're working on it. Like, and because there's stuff here that they could fix easy,
Right.
that I think would make it a lot better. And again, like, I'd still recommend you buy this game. You know, if you don't have a PlayStation, you should buy this version of the game because it's fun. And there are reasons why I like this game better than Dash Dash World, actually. I'm not saying that this is a better game. I'm just saying there's reasons I like this one better than that one. So definitely, I would
So
still
for
go buy the
in
game.
my opinion, the PSVR version of this game is better than Dash Dash.
Mhm.
I don't know that I could say the Quest version of this game is better than the Quest version of Dash Dash. Like
Definitely not in the visual department.
yeah, definitely not visually. You're right about that.
I like the jumps here. That's one of the things that I think Dash Dash doesn't do. Like here, they didn't shy away from like Dash Dash was I think was a little bit of no, and the Dash Dash has awesome tracks too, by the way. But they don't do the jumps like Galaxy Kart does, and you can get some good aerial high flying jumps in this game because there's like ramps everywhere that are super cool. And they don't shy away from it. They're not worried about motion sickness. They just kind of like let you do it. But yeah, visual wise, Dash Dash has it on this game.
For sure. Plus, there's drifting on Dash Dash, right?
Right.
You can drift around corners. You can't do that here.
Plus, I think people getting sick from VR is funny because it doesn't happen to me. No, I'm just kidding. It's like somebody just threw something at their TV. Fuck you, Ruuts.
Yeah.
But from one racing game, we move on to another. Trackcraft also left App Lab and opted not to take the early access tag. And a bit of a surprise here. I was expecting, like we talked about at the top of the show, I was expecting very much this to be a good mixed reality tech demo. But what I found here was actually a full-fledged game that is quite polished and has multiple game modes in it, and a lot more here than what I was ever expecting. I was expecting this to be an only third-person game where you can put tracks in your real-life room and you run these little like RC cars around the track, and that's pretty much the extent of it. I thought that the big hook here would be that it's mixed reality and that you can have tracks in your room. What I didn't expect is a number of things. First of all, the way that they use your room geometry here. If you set up your room correctly, you don't need a track to run your cars. So like you can have the cars run across your floor, and then you can build a ramp from your floor up to like your couch, and then the track ends on your couch and the cars can race across your couch. And then at the other side of your couch you can start building the track off of it so that there's a ramp that comes off of your couch and goes over to your table. The track ends at your table and the cars can run around your table, and you set up these races that literally use all of the furniture and things in your house as the track itself. And then, of course, you put the finish line wherever you want in your house. Super cool implementation, high-tech mixed reality implementation here. The game supports co-located multiplayer so that you can bring people into the same room with you, and you guys can race across the track that you've built out in your room. Super cool. You can take it outside, and as long as you do the setup, like you can do some really extensive tracks outside here. And at the end of it all, you can race through this thing in first person. You don't even have to run it like an RC car. Very much like what was that other kart racer that we used to like? Shit, I don't even remember what it was called.
I'm trying to think of what it is.
Mini Motor Racing
Yeah.
X. Like Mini Motor Racing X, you can go right down in the thing and race these tracks in first person as well. Eric, just way more in this title than I ever expected, and really, really impressed, and see why so many people rave about Trackcraft.
Yep, and this is a game that was ready to come out of didn't need the the moniker of like early access, and it was ready to come out. So, you know, I love this game. I love the variety of making your own tracks. I love the fact that you can play it from a top-down view. You can get behind the car and do it that way. You know, the different types of vehicles that you can get in here are super cool. The mixed reality is super cool. This game has pretty much everything. It really does.
Ruuts, did you try Trackcraft?
I did actually. And you know, some people are saying, what is it? Might need to buy it, especially with the mixed reality function being a bonus. And that's exactly what it was for me. Like I tried it in the mixed reality mode, and surprise, surprise, I turned it to to VR. I just like being in VR. I'm just not. I don't care about mixed reality, but I also don't have 2 or 3 people in my house that could be working on a track around and building something together. That is where this would be really cool. And I was what I didn't even build shit, man. I went in there and I found that they have a campaign, and I just I was like, fuck yeah, man. I don't have to do any work. I just want to go through this thing. And the levels start out very simple and basic. And at first I did start out in mixed reality, and then I found out that you could switch to fully, you know, VR environments. These environments are cool, and the tracks get more elaborate and more elaborate. And then, like you said, you hit a button, you can zoom down in, you can zoom in front of the car, you can, you know, or you can have it third person. And I always tried to do it first person, but there's some courses you get in there and you're not doing it first. The angle is so weird, right? But I was super blown away with this and shocked how good it was, because I kind of had an idea of how cool it could be, but I was going into it like I wasn't worried about building my own shit. I wanted to see what they had to build, and I think it's cool that they give you both, right? And then everything you guys said that you can actually build stuff into your own environment and have it go down into your pool table, and like the sky's the limit. I think it's cool.
Yeah, it's like a legit next gen version of the Mini Motor Racing X, right? Like has everything that we loved about that title, but then uses the modern technology just to take it to a whole other level than it ever was before. Yeah, just really blown away by this. Can't really express how surprised I was at just how fleshed out this thing was. I honestly just thought that this was going to be another mixed reality tech demo. I knew that it was popular, so I expected it to be good, but I really didn't expect it to be as a complete game as it turned out to be.
It's cool how you. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was pretty much done.
I was gonna say it's cool how you unlock different cars, right? And the way that all that is like with, it's just it feels very AAA, you know, like it's just got a very AAA feel to it.
Yeah, pretty incredible. And this is the type of stuff people should be building with the new tech, is stuff that really you can't do anywhere else. And you know, the co-location, I think, Eric, is probably I haven't used it a lot, but as far as like the potential for MR in this this stage, I think that's where the where they should really be leaning as they launch the next quest. That's the cheaper version of mixed reality, and hopefully this does pick up and people do buy in on it. I think that's the biggest area of opportunity for them, is to push titles like this that bring multiple players into the same play space playing together, whether that be through shooters or like racing games like this, or shooting pool, or playing Demio, or what have you. That I think that's the big selling point for mixed reality right now, and basically delivering the promise that Tilt 5 tried to sell people, but at an affordable price point with way more possibilities in terms of what the games can do.
Yep. No, I couldn't agree more. And I can tell you that Meta is looking for those co-location based games. Like they believe that mixed reality and, you know, having you know, co-location, you know, gameplay is important. And I think that goes to show you that they do think that this next headset will be affordable enough to warrant that you will have, we will get to a point where most households are multiple headset households. We're not quite there yet, but this headset will definitely, this new headset, Quest 3S or whatever, their Lite or whatever it's called, it absolutely is going to lend itself to having more of those, having more people with headsets in the same house, or at least, in the same neighborhood. And Meta wants more games like this. Like you see more and more of these popping up, and just so much you can do with these types of games when you're in the same space.
They need that. They need their mixed reality Mario 64, right? Like they're coming out with this new headset, and they're going to be pushing it with Batman, and Batman is going to sell a lot of people and get them into the headset because it's a next level standalone VR game, right? So a lot of people will buy in based on that. But the whole point of the generation is to sell people on mixed reality because they want to sell people augmented reality down the road. This is getting people into that. They need that mixed reality breakthrough title that everyone just needs to play. And I feel like that in tandem with a game like Batman would really get them the type of sales that they want to get with this new cheaper headset.
They've already got it.
They've got something cooking.
They've already got it. Just have to make mixed reality. Imagine this. You have colorful blocks coming through your mixed reality, and you got lightsabers, and you can slice them in your own room, Eric. That would change everything, I think.
No.
That would do it. Crazy.
That would be killer.
That would be killer.
I wish somebody would make a game.
What about
slicing blocks?
What the Bat MR? Right?
Oh my God, dude. That would have changed everything.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
No, that would have been
game of
the year 2 years in a row.
You wouldn't be afraid to swing your bat for sure.
Game of the year every year.
You could go brush your teeth with a bat at your actual sink.
You could. That would be cool.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't want to do that in VR?
I could see a lot of content creators making that video right now. That would be cool.
Oh man! Why don't we go play What the Cat or what the is it?
What the Cat?
What's the cat?
I am cat.
I am cat.
I am cat. It might as well be What the Cat. Same thing.
Yeah, same deal.
No dumbass game.
And we move along to our final title of the episode and of the Quest platform. A bit of a pleasant surprise coming out this month. Another port, but one that we thought we had long since passed many, many years ago. Fracked made its way to the Quest platform this month in a pleasant surprise from the VR Gaming Showcase just a few weeks back. This title already dropped, and what can I say? It's Fracked. It absolutely holds up and translates very well to the standalone platform. All of the action, all of the things that we loved about the original Fracked on PlayStation VR are here on this next gen headset with next gen resolution. The game looks great in the headset. The game plays great in the headset. Ruuts, I don't know really what else to say about it. Like we've raved about this game for years, and this is that game. I can't really say that this is a lesser version because it's on standalone. It's the same game. It's Fracked on Quest.
Didn't look or feel like a lesser version to me. It felt just as fast and action packed. So, and the skiing was definitely cool. I was thinking, I did it perfect too. I didn't mess up at all. I was feeling like a badass. I was thinking of Eric because he wanted special skiing levels, right? More skiing.
I want skiing like every level.
Yeah, no, they only do it, I think, twice, right, in the whole game.
Yep.
And especially the second one where you're shooting while you ski, like that was such a fun mechanic and a fun level. Like I could have played a whole game of just levels like that, right? Missed opportunity for sure.
Yeah,
definitely.
Eric, did you play Fracked on Quest?
I did. Yeah, I actually played it last week, man. I mean, I don't need a reason to go play Fracked. I think it's one of the best games out there, and I absolutely love it. And besides some visual downgrades, I mean, this game is Fracked, man. Everything is here. Like the controls are spot on. They're great. I love this world. I love everything about it. Like I think I played like probably like a 45 minutes to an hour into the game, which is
Which is
substantial amount.
it's a significant part of the game,
Substantial
right? That's
amount,
almost
yeah.
half. Yeah.
But I did play a little bit on no die mode, which is, I think it's your hard. It's like just listed as hard mode there. So if you only have one life, so if you die, you're dead. You start over. So, and that's one of the ways I do like to play now. So I just think this game is great, man. It's the cover mechanic is so well done. The visuals are cool. They lend itself to the Quest. There are definitely some downgrades over the PlayStation version, but it's pretty darn close.
Yeah, I mean they're not super obvious. Like, I mean there may be some like resolution difference in it, but not. It's not super obvious. Like I didn't feel like I was playing a downgraded version at all.
Most of the
when I played
levels are
through.
there. Yeah, you know what I know? You're right. I noticed it the most, like especially in the first scene when you see the avalanche coming at you. The avalanche is so pixelated and like it looks like 8-bit pixel. It looks like an 8-bit avalanche
I
coming.
didn't
at
even
you.
look at it. I didn't even look at it.
I didn't either.
It's so bad. You probably better off you didn't look at it. But I mean, the actual after that, when you get into the interior, everything looks pretty good.
Yeah. So yeah, I just didn't notice it. I didn't look at it. Piotrek F, 11.99 Polish in the chat says, "Remember, if you buy Astrobot, you're a traitor." I didn't buy it, dude, and I'm not going to. I'll buy it when it comes to PC. The head developer said that it's very possible that this game comes to PC, and that's when I'll pick it up. I'm not going to buy it on PlayStation platform.
I just picked it up. No, just kidding. I didn't. I'm not wasting money on any games right now, but if I was wasting money on games, I would pick it up. I heard it's good. This is my thought. Granted, I get it. I want to play in VR as well, but I'll play it both ways. But I really, really loved the demo. I loved the gameplay. I loved the way the
I'm sure it's great.
felt.
I'm sure it's great.
So I'm gonna enjoy it for the flat game it is, and then I'll play it in VR, and then it'll be even better. But nobody's promised tomorrow. I don't believe. I'm just not gonna wait on stuff anymore. Not like that where it could be years or a year and a half, 2 years, and I'll enjoy it a second time when it comes out.
Yeah. For me, it's about like, on the one hand, this will come to PC, and I'm fairly certain it'll be modded into VR at that point, and it'll be better to play, and I'll be glad that I waited then. But beyond that, like, they really pissed me off not supporting VR with this and just completely shitting on the roots of this franchise by not supporting it in VR when it would have been, we all know it would have been so easy for them just to enable that. It probably would have taken them an extra month of development
How
time.
do you translate it
And-
though? No, just kidding. That's so fucking stupid, man. It's the dumbest excuse, right?
Yeah. So my thought is that really pisses me off, and I'm not going to reward them. I'm sure the game is awesome. I'm sure it's probably game of the year. I'm not going to give them my money.
I respect
and
it.
reward them for that.
I don't
Fuck
doubt. I mean, I don't think that's wrong for anybody to feel that. I respect it 100%. I take the same stances on headsets or whatever. Like when you feel like you got burned, it's like, yeah. So I get it.
And it's more than just Astrobot too. I think that it's an indicator of their overall commitment to the platform, the PSVR platform. And I think that's where a lot of people's frustration comes from, as people were holding out hope for a long time, even though the tea leaves were reading that, they're not going to support it the way that you want. I'm not saying that Sony's not supporting VR. I'm not saying that Sony doesn't believe in VR. I'm saying what we thought they were going to do this generation, they're not doing it. It's obvious now. And the thing that made it obvious was when they didn't put Astrobot in VR.
Right.
That was the thing that made it clear.
Yeah, I agree. And I think this is why I would never consider, and I said this in the Discord earlier, why would I consider getting a PS5 Pro? Like I already regretted getting the PS5. I don't care if it played the PS5 VR 2 a little bit better. I just don't care. Like Sony hasn't given me one reason to want to buy more into their ecosystem. As a matter of fact, I'm already pulling my feet out. You know what I mean? This is what I do. I start to pull out. I'm starting to do it with Intel too. Probably won't go Intel next time. So like, if certain companies fuck me over, I'm not saying I won't play Sony or don't want to do Sony PSVR 2, but I'm definitely not investing in more hardware. Fuck no.
Well, I'm there with you on that. Like, I don't regret buying my PSVR or my PS5. The best games of the
Correct.
last 2 years were on that platform, and I'm so glad that I did it. But I'm definitely not going to go throw down $600 on a new console right now, until they show me something that makes it worth that money. Like taking away the reprojection from the 5 games that have it right now
The same things
is
they
not enough.
promised us with PS5. You know,
Yeah,
shouldn't we
right.
have gotten that with PS5? That's the thing. Like every time a new console comes out, we don't get what we're promised, and we hope for the next iteration. There's fucking 5090s and all sorts of shit coming out. I could much spend my money on better.
Exactly.
You know,
I can take that 5090 and play Returnal in first person VR, buttery smooth, right? While PlayStation gamers wait for Sony to do the official Returnal VR. Now, I'm not saying I won't buy a PlayStation 5 Pro. If they come out and it's like PS4 Pro was, and the developers go into the PSVR 2 games and develop specifically for the new hardware and make games that are legitimately head and shoulders better than the base PS5 version, at that point, I will go and buy the console. I'm just not going to buy it on launch because I have faith that that's what they're going to do, because I don't have faith that that's what they're going to do. They have to prove it to me now. Whereas, 4 years ago, I would have just had faith that they were going to do the right thing.
yeah. I don't even care if it's
Uh,
better or not. I just don't
uh,
care.
I hope it is. I hope it is better, and I hope I buy one. But I'm not going to pre-order it. I'm not going to stay up and follow all these websites to make sure that I get one, just because there's going to be some marginal improvement on my favorite games. Those are my favorite games. That's my favorite platform. So don't misread what I'm saying here. PlayStation VR 2 is my favorite platform for VR gaming. Those are my favorite games. But it's not enough to go drop $600 for a marginal improvement. I need to see some real improvement before I commit that kind of investment.
Especially since
And
that's 1/3 of a 47 or 4090 that everyone was, when I got it anyway, and everyone said that was too much. That's a third of it. You know what I mean? That now it takes that video card that feels like it's out of your reach, and it now puts it within reach, reasonable reach, right? It's a lot of money.
that's what I'm saving for. I'm saving money up, and graphics card update right now is what I'm saving for. Now, something could come along, like a Valve headset could come along, or maybe the PS5 Pro does something special that woos me. But right now, I'm saving up with full intention on getting a new graphics card next year that just melts these flat games when I try to play them in VR. I'm still looking forward to playing Hellblade 2 in VR. My computer right now won't do it, but I'm not giving up on that. I'm just going to get a better computer.
Well, you can play it flat. No, I'm just kidding. Wes is like, that's one
No, I
I'm
gotta
not
do it.
playing flat. So,
But right now, UEVR is where it's at. That's why we cover it every week. Is because that's the best thing that's in VR right now. It's about to change. Native VR games are coming in the later half of this year, and I'm going to be playing a lot more native VR. But thank God for UEVR. This summer has been long and slow, so we've had good stuff to play every weekend because of the PC modding. So that's where my head's at right now.
yeah, I agree.
Anyway, back to standalone. An interesting month with tons of good choices here. I see 3 viable Game of the Month candidates on Quest: Zero Caliber 2, Trackcraft, and Fracked. I'd say Trackcraft probably had the most wow factor for me. out of the box. As far as stuff I'm going to go back and play, though, Zero Caliber 2 probably has the most, return factor for me. I'll probably end up playing that orders of magnitude more time than even Fracked. Well, Fracked is probably the best 2 to 3 hours out of any of these games. It is just 2 to 3 hours. And, this is a game that we very famously said would have probably been game of the year if it were 10 hours instead of 2 hours, but it's not. It's a 2 hour game. So I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place here with these ones. I guess we'll start with you, Ruuts. What do you think?
For me, it's easy. There's one, Trackcraft. This is the lesser version of Fracked. It's not as graphically good as the rest. It is good, but it's only 3 hours, and Trackcraft is unlimited amounts of hours. Even just the amount of time that you probably just trying to get through all the campaign and unlocking courses, all the cars, all the different things, and then you add the courses you can build and everything that you just said about it earlier, building it in your own house and just everything. It's just super cool, and there's nothing like it. And I'm not going to trash Zero Caliber 2 anymore. It's not a bad game. It really comes down to Gambit. But, I just let it be a lesson for developers out there. There's certain people that once you've made a certain mistake, you'll never win those people back ever. And that's just the way it is. I feel the fact that they don't, my biggest problem with it, and I'll leave it here because I don't want to keep brown. They just don't address it. People comment it, ask about it, and they just ignore it like it never happens. And then people defend them in the comments or in the chat here saying, well, this time they're more dedicated. Well, last time they seemed like they were too, until people didn't pay enough money and they ditched it. And I feel like Zero Caliber 2 could have been that way too. If people didn't support it enough, they would have ditched it too. So I just don't trust them anymore. So,
Eric?
I really like Trackcraft. I think it's a super cool game. And I would, if it was any other month, I would pick it. I love Fracked. It's just one of my favorite games. I just think the gameplay is so good. I literally just want it to be like 3 hours longer or 2 hours longer, but it's not. But what is there is good enough for me. I voted for it. I voted for it when it was on the PlayStation, platform as Game of the Month. And I even thought about it for Game of the Year for that platform. And I can't not vote for it again here now because the game is here, man. Everything is here that was on that platform is so good. And for me, I like that style of gameplay better than Trackcraft, even though Trackcraft is awesome. And Zero Caliber is fun too, but again, for me, I'd prefer the story mode over the of Fracked over and action, the way the action is over in Fracked over the squad, the team based campaign mode that you see in Zero Caliber. But tough choices, man. These are all good choices. Like, there's not a bad choice here to pick, but for me, I'm going to go Fracked just because I love that freaking game.
Yeah, I agree. I think that again, for while it lasts, Fracked is a premium experience with big set pieces and a good story, fun to play. I just can't get over how short it is, man. You can play through this thing in a setting, right? And Zero Caliber, while I, minute to minute, I might not love it as much as I love Fracked. There's a lot more of it, and I can play it with friends. It's a much more fully fleshed out game than Fracked is. While Fracked is a bit more polished for certain, and certainly more original with all the skiing and things that it does. I feel like Zero Caliber 2 would probably get my vote just because it is a fully fleshed out military campaign that you can play with friends, and there's lots of variability in the weapons, and there's a lot I like about that title. So that would probably get my vote. That's probably going to be the one that I spend the most time on. Like I'll play through Fracked again, and I won't ever go back to it. I might hit Trackcraft 2 years from now when we go back and we want to remember the cool games that came out in the early days of MR. I'll probably play it one more time or twice more. Zero Caliber's one that I think I'll see myself coming back to every few months with a squad, and I'll probably play completely through it like I did the original Zero Caliber with my daughters and with you, and you know. So I think that probably gets my vote. And what that does is give us a three-way tie.
I
So
love it.
yeah. So we all have our own preferences here and our own things that we value. And I don't disagree with anything that you guys are saying, and I don't really think that you guys are disagreeing with what I'm saying. We just have three good games here, and
And everybody, like
Yeah.
you said, everybody likes different types of games, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? So
Yeah, no, and like I said, there's no losers here. These three games are really, really good games. Like, you know, and I'm even okay with like a runner up in this one. I mean, you can't do three, but I'm even okay with like, you know, if we decide to throw a runner up into this category, I think because they're, you know, while I don't think any of these are going to win Game of the Year, I think they could be in a conversation. I think Fracked is a good enough game to be in a conversation, and maybe Zero Caliber is. Probably not, but maybe. You know, in Trackcraft, if you're into that type of game, and you know, if you like creating your own courses and things like that, I think it's a cool mixed reality experience. But
I think you should try the campaign and actually work your way, because I didn't have any, like, everything you guys described. I didn't experience any of it, and what I thought was cool was actually working my way through level to level and unlocking cars and getting different cars and different. It was just really cool the way it was set up, and each course got more elaborate and almost, I don't want to say puzzle like, but it was just different. It was really cool, and so
I think
Yeah,
we're going to
it's
let
definitely a good
the. We should probably just let the poll be the tiebreaker. That's typically what we do, right? Um, and we could do a runner up or not do a runner up here. I don't think any of these games are going to be game of the year.
right.
So I don't think it really matters. I do think that Trackcraft is in a good position to win mixed reality game of the year. Um, so if we go with the poll says Trackcraft is the game of the month, and I'm fine with that unless someone has a big objection. It's a great game, so I'll take
can't lose
that.
Yeah, I know that
Yeah.
we started the stream with Radio Runt when he was just backed it up here earlier, or a little bit ago, but he said he wasn't going to be here, but he said his vote for Quest was Trackcraft, right off the bat, and I think people really liked it. I know I did. Like I said, it was the one game that I went into out of every game on here that blew me away, and I was like, holy shit, why did I not know this game was this good? I know GT was raving about it when it came out, so
Yeah, everybody was, and they continue to. So yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it there. Trackcraft game of the month. We can call Frack the runner up if you want to. It got a significant amount of votes.
and it's good enough for, you know, the discussion, like Eric said.
So we'll call Trackcraft the winner. We'll call Fracked the runner up. And with that, we have the Quest game of the month. Not many left to go, guys. Like I said, the end of the year is coming up fast. We'll be back next week with a regular round of episodes. We're going to be off the following week as I'm going to be out of town.
Well, yeah, your concert, huh? Excited,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah, I'm going to a concert. I'll be out of town for that. And then when I get back from that, we'll be at the end of September. We'll be in early October, and that'll be the last full month of episodes that we have until the 2024 show at the end of December. So, yeah, well, maybe 4 or 5 more weeks of regular episodes, and then we're going to be on break. Pretty crazy, right?
That's crazy. This year's flying by is crazy.
It really
Summer's
is.
already over.
Summer's over. In the fall. Let's go.
I just think of that
Let's
song
go.
from Greece, you know. Summer's what is it? Wasting away, and I don't know what the hell the song is, but when that summer's over, right? Makes me sad.
David Run says, I haven't tried Track Graft or Zero Caliber 2, so I didn't vote. Oh, I wish more people thought like you, David Runs. If you don't know what you're voting for, you should just not vote, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, did you play Fracked? If you played Fracked, then just vote for Fracked.
That's true. You gotta, yeah. Sometimes you have to, if you haven't played the game, you have to go with the community's thoughts, right? Is that what we do?
Sometimes.
So,
yeah, that's what we did just then.
Yeah.
Corporate Zombie says, I hope Behemoth is good enough to be Game of the Year. It's definitely going to be good enough to be in the conversation. But there's a lot of good games that came out this year, and there's a lot of good games that are about to come out. So it's kind of hard to specify at this moment.
And how does the game lay out in an actual game that's not like selected pieces that people got to try, right? Like, does the whole package flow? And like, there's so much to a game. It's very difficult. People are so quick to build themselves up and be disappointed. And I'm not talking about Behemoth because I think it will be amazing, but you just never know until the final game comes out. People think Batman's going to be amazing. It probably will be too, but there is that potential that they somehow, some way, it's in the end disjointed, doesn't flow. The pacing's off. Who knows? But so far it seems like it's good. I just feel like sometimes people are just a little bit quick to want to believe the best, and they set themselves up for disappointment, you know?
And I'll point out that we did switch last year our nomination window to go November to November. So December titles this year are not going to count.
That's true.
And some of the bigger titles are coming out in December. Those will be nominees next year. But with that said, that throws Resident Evil 4 right in the mix for Game of the Year this year. And I don't, I can tell you Batman's going to be good, and Behemoth's going to be good. Resident Evil 4 remake is fucking awesome. So they've got something to prove. I'll just say that.
That's why I love those games like that came out at the end last year. If they're that good, they're still going to kick the shit out of games this year, right? So it's going to be a good competition.
And you know what? With that said, we don't have a lot of weeks left this year that we're going to be doing shows, and we didn't cover Resident Evil 4 properly last year because, all the stuff going on in my personal life, and we were on a break. We're coming into October, and I do plan on focusing a lot on horror games in October. It won't be exclusively what we do, but I plan to do more of them than normal. Probably be a lot of mods that we do, but a lot of classic games as well. I guarantee you that Resident Evil 4 will be one of the games that we cover during October this year. So stay tuned for that.
One of the few games I finished last year. Like, I played that thing in like a couple of days. I finished, or maybe a week. I finished it.
I should tell you something about how good it is.
Yeah,
right?
Especially since Mashers played through it several times and it still grips him, right? Assassin32 VR says, I was shooting a video about how to return Quest games and I accidentally refunded Zero Caliber 2. Well, you already know about how I feel about that refund, so maybe just keep it going. And
well, it's half off right now. You should just get your half back, right?
That's true. I mean, if you didn't pay 50%, you can go and get it cheap. Like if you paid full price.
JPEG Q with the US $5 donation. Ruuts, describe a concept of what would be an awesome, worthwhile mixed reality game for a game developer to make that you would love to play.
That's a good question. I have to think about that. It's easier to shit all over it than it is to come up with constructive game.
Hell yeah.
You're calling me out here. No, there's a lot of good concepts. I mean, I personally, I thought Trackcraft, the way of building that was really cool. Because I could see Wes and his kids building something together, right? And like that's the thing that's the coolest. Or even the type of things where there's actual activity where you're punching something or whatever. If you have a big enough space, it's really not that big a deal. It's really for people that are Like, because when I do VR, my room's locked. Nobody's walking in here, walking through my room. Like, it'd be very difficult for me to punch something. I'm not wandering over by my monitor. Like, I'm not John Wicking all over the place. I'm not like the target audience for that type of stuff. But if you are in a tight room, or if you're playing Supernatural or whatever it is, and you're in your living room and your 5-year-old walks through every once in a while, yeah, maybe you might not want to deck them and go to jail, because that's the world we live in, right? Oh my God, it was an accident. Right. Yeah, right. Sorry, pal, you're on the news now. So yeah. Yeah.
I'd like to see some really realistic, and maybe the tech isn't here quite yet for it. But I'd like to see some really realistic home intruder games, like somebody's breaking into your house, like real life human people, and you have to defend your home. And that could be like, robbers or whatever, or it could be, foreign military, or, it could be like a militia. I'd like to see a story campaign where I have to defend my home from
Red
invaders.
Dawn.
I think that would be cool.
That would be cool.
I think an alien invasion game would be cool, where you look out the windows, you see the things in the sky. They rip the roof off of your house, and you have to defend against them coming in through the doors and through the ceiling and stuff like that, with drones and what have you. That could be really cool.
Here's the thing: a good mixed reality game that you're describing, and the way that I've described in the past too, where even just the entry to the game, is like some weird thing where you're picking away at a wall and you find this portal and you go into the world or whatever. It doesn't exist. And I think it was Skiva that nailed it a while ago, and I think it was with Demio or whatever game it was. The contrast between the sharp VR that you're seeing mixed reality versus the mixed reality pixelation, even in the Quest 3 with its advancements, it's a very, you know what I mean? It's very difficult to trick me. Like mixed reality to me takes me out of immersion immediately. I'm in my fucking living room. That's my biggest problem. And I've said that from the beginning. I want to be in fantasy land. I don't want to be in my room. I'm in my room all the time. It's boring. I want to be somewhere else. And we've said that in the past, right? Going to worlds we can't be in. But so the dream for mixed reality to me would be mixing the two, right? But you can't do that right now because of that contrast. And so we aren't at that technological place for me to really see where I would benefit from mixed reality. But everything I just said about TrackCraft and those type of cool things from people like Wes and his family that has multiple headsets, I think it's amazing. I think it's something you could do in VR you couldn't do before. And it's super cool.
Word. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to call the episode. I want to thank everyone for showing up, getting up early, staying up late, whatever the case may be for you. It's another game of the month in the books.
We did it.
Again, the game of the month this month very much was Arcade Paradise VR, coming to PlayStation and PC. TrackCraft on Quest, but a host of other very fun, even if flawed, games that came out this week, from Fracked to Galaxy Kart, Hello Cruel World, The Burst, Astro Hunters, Outta Hand, Compound, The Utility Room, Darksword. A solid month for people out there, no matter what platform you're playing on. But until next week, I want to thank you all again for watching. For Ruuts and Eric, I'm Wes. We'll see you Saturday. Good night, everyone.
Stay easy.
See you later.